Okay, welcome to a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Pearsall to be held today, Tuesday, April 9th, 2019 at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. May I have a roll call, please?
Mary Moore, Robert Villarreal, Richard Gala, Sonia Hernandez. Here. Brenda Trevino. Here. Juliana Hernandez.
Here.
Ben Briscoe.
Here.
Galen Frazier.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Mr. Foster, would you lead us, please?
Lord God, once again for this opportunity, Lord, given to be able to come together for this meeting. I pray that you bless our city council, but bless those that are unable to be here, our members of the city council that are not able to be here tonight. And Lord God, wherever they may be, that you just be with them and protect them, as well as our council members here and staff and city manager. Bless this meeting, Lord God, in a very special way. For it is, Lord, for the blessing of the city that they come together to make these decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you don't mind, just put your phones on mute, please. Okay, citizens to be heard. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, we have two. The first being Mr. Richie.
Okay, in accordance with section... Hold on. In accordance with section 3.12 of the Pearsall Municipal Charter, all meetings of the City Council and all committees thereof shall be open to the public, and the rules of the council shall provide that citizens of the city shall have a reasonable opportunity to be heard at any such meetings in regard to any matter that are considered. Any such meetings shall comply with all applicable laws of the state of Texas. Accordingly, the Pearsall City Council has rules of courtesy in place for all persons in attendance at its meetings. The presiding public official shall at all times preserve order and decorum, prevent personal references to council members or the impugning of persons' motives. Citizens requesting to be heard shall sign in before the meeting is called to order and shall be called upon in order that they signed in. The presiding official shall use discretion and time allowed a citizen to be heard. The citizen shall make every effort to be brief, get to the point, and limit the speaking time to no more than 3 minutes. Personal attacks shall not be allowed in the speaking. First, Mr. Ritchie.
Good afternoon, Council. I come representing the Fresno Regional Life Group. My purpose is to get on an agenda at some point to ask for the City Council to once again sponsor the event that will be happening the first Saturday in November. I will be giving the city manager a list of items that we're asking from the city to make y'all aware. We've been talking about rebranding it, since the city is almost the only sponsor, rebranding it to something in the effect of the Pearsall Downtown Day or the Pearsall Stop and Shop or something of that nature. But anyway, I just want to make y'all aware that I know that at the end of this meeting, there will be items that come up on the agenda, and I would respectfully request that y'all allow us to do that. To give this to the city manager, and I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda.
Ms. Paula Manzanares.
Not necessarily, ma'am. Just need to hear you out.
Well, I'm Paula Manzanares. I own Brisket and Barbecue, and our business has a demand to move to a dining restaurant. I came here because the place I leased already, there was issues with a gazebo that was placed there. So I came and asked for advice about placing the barbecue pit. We own, Brisket and Barbecue is a barbecue business. We have that same setup where we're at now at Trinity and Oak. I came and asked if there was going to be allowed before signing the lease. A couple of weeks into it, I got denied. A couple of days later, I got denied for a character reason, being that it could cause obstruction an accident where it was gonna be placed. I have a picture of a map, because they wanted it on graph paper, that I graphed it. And, the pit is gonna be located over 35 feet from the intersection of Comau to where Puente Comau, which is Perry's building. It's over 35 feet to where the pit's gonna go. It's 53 feet from the intersection to the building, 60 point something feet from the stop sign to the pit location. I was told that it was gonna be a character, it cannot be there. Barbecue pit is a mobile, it's mobile, it's not be attached to the property. And the food inspector had recommended that location for us because it was ready to be placed there. There has been other tenants that operated their business out of that location that had some type of barbecue business at the same place we're placing that pit at. And we got denied. I asked to be placed on the city council agenda for today. When I come to the city, I come to the city not knowing what the rules are. If anybody, and I'm not saying anybody here, when I come in blindly. Because all I do is real estate and sell this shit. I don't know that you come in order for you to get put on the agenda to be heard, that you have to go through proper steps and pay for it. When I'm being told I'm gonna get placed under zoning meeting, and I show up and I'm not on the agenda, then the zoning person told me he denied it, take it to the zoning committee. The landlord was putting pressure on me to sign the lease at the end of the month, if not, we get another lease bill. I asked to speak with the city manager, he approved it. He approved it for us to put it on a cement slab 4x4 with tree shrubs all around it, on 3 sides, not the 4th one. It's a fire pit. I understand that that's what they want for us to move in, that's fine, to hide the pit to make it pretty. Because I do all the cooking during the day, if I draw up a fire log when I'm out there smoking these ribs and sausage and ribs, it's gonna cause a fire. Yes, we have fire extinguishers, but city zoning, commercial city zoning laws state here on C3, there's no restrictions on a commercial property. I looked around at other businesses, they have character, what he calls character, intersection blockage. I researched Texas legislation laws, and it says you can be 15 feet from a fire hydrant, from the intersection 20 feet to a stop sign 30 feet from an intersection, which is a traffic light. And we're being denied for this. This is a commercial. Why is the city ordinance laws changing? I'm being told they're changing the laws, enforcing new laws to make Pearsall pretty. The tree shrubs around the barbecue pit are to make it look pretty and hide the pit. Isn't there proper steps that you take to change your ordinance? Why are they starting with me? I mentioned other businesses like the front porch is brand new. They have the whole parking lot at the intersection. Isn't that the same violation as the barbecue pits? Picos, Rositas, Ben, and why were they approved prior to me? Because the city ordinance laws for commercial states that there is no setback lines on C3 here. I think that if they're going to change the laws with us being the first people, then you need to follow your proper steps and changing them in your handbook, whatever steps they are. And if they're amended when I ask for a copy, or was I given this as your laws? I don't think it's fair. I feel discriminated. If I have the same setup here at Oak and Trinity, why am I being denied and discriminated to grow my business, to grow my business into the dining area, still in the city of Pearsall? When I told them about the Texas legislation laws, the zoning person told me that they don't abide. Frill County does not, city of Pearsall does not abide by zoning the Texas legislation law. They don't use them to take them to Divine. Why am I being pushed to Divine? I can take my business to Pleasanton. I can go somewhere else. I want to grow here. As a realtor, I had problems bringing the gym to Pearsall because of zoning issues. You want Pearsall to grow, you want diversity, you want growth, you want new things coming to Pearsall, you got to give us an opportunity to abide by the laws that you have already in ordinance and not change them and not allow us to grow. Do you really need a third high school? I'm just a barbecue business and we want to grow, our business is doing well and y'all aren't allowing it to happen. And I'm very hurt that this is being done to us. It's not fair. a female Hispanic, I feel discriminated that I can't get what everybody else is getting here. And that's all I have to say. And I asked to be placed on the agenda for zoning. I wasn't. I was denied. I was told to leave if I wasn't on there. I was told to be put on this meeting. And again, I wasn't here. I don't know what the proper steps are to be placed in an agenda. And then when I call and I'm not on here, I don't think it's fair at all.
Well, thank you, ma'am. We're going to refer you back to our city manager. If there's anything that needs to be discussed that has been omitted or not relayed in full, maybe, just visit with her on that. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else? No? All right, item 5 on today's agenda is public hearing to review and discuss the conditional use permit requested by Jose Sanchez and Esperanza Ruiz to be able to place a 2019 28-foot by 58-foot manufactured home on his property. Property's legal lot description being Lot 17 in Block X, Pearsall Addition, located at 206 South Willow Street. Property is currently zoned as an NR1 single and two-family dwelling district. This is a public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion to discuss?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Former Mayor Pro Tem, not a meeting. It appears that on this item that the family chose to change that permit, and so they're going to come back at the next meeting. I didn't know what that was. No? It was approved by, yeah, it's only, so now I do what he's talking about. No, now it's approved by that.
Well,
Okay, no, so yeah, one before.
yes,
It's approved by council. They don't-
we have to approve. Okay, so it has been motion and second for discussion.
Open hearing.
Open hearing. So what is the discussion? what's?
Well, we're asking to put the single wide home onto our lot. We had previously wanted a double, but that was denied, so they said that we were able to put the single, as long as we were gonna put a single wide, we were gonna go ahead and approve it. I don't know whether there's steps I need to take, or.
So why was the second one denied though?
No,
Why the first one?
The
I mean,
first one was denied because it was too big. And we had realized that it was gonna be too big for our easements were. Yeah, the setbacks or whatever, they were gonna be, it was too big for that. So they told us that if we got a smaller one, we were able to do it, because it would have been 2 feet, and it's supposed to be 5 feet, but the smaller one would be 7 on each side. So we went ahead and tried to do the single wide as for the 7 feet.
So is it an issue, Lucia? Is it no longer an issue
It's no longer an issue.
because it meets the code?
Yes, it's not.
So we don't need to take action? We don't need to vote on it, it's already approved or what?
No, you do.
No, we do
Yeah,
need
need to
action.
approve it.
Okay.
There's an action.
So, but it's not a variance, or is it?
It's not a variance.
So what particularly are we approving?
So
What are we approving?
the
The conditional use permit?
Yes, right.
conditional,
Okay.
the permit with the condition to reduce the scale.
Is it the issue that it's a manufactured home in an R1? Is that what the issue is?
The issue was that the manufactured home was big, too big. It doesn't meet the setback requirements. Now the condition, because it's a conditional permit, the condition given to them is to reduce that manufactured home so it meets the setback requirement.
Okay. And I understand that, so if it meets the requirements, what do we have to approve? It's already, I guess that's what I'm,
So their original permit was conditional use, and so they, rather than making them refile and go through the whole process again,
Okay.
the condition was to reduce it to the size that fit. So you're approving that permit with the conditions they reduced to the size that fit.
that makes sense. I understand.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, is there a motion to close hearing?
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor? Okay, that item will come up again in number 7. Number 6, action to consent agenda, discussion and possible action regarding approval of minutes for the March 12, 2019, March 19, 2019, and April 2nd, 2019 council meetings. So it's an action item.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All in favor? Maybe I'll review the minutes. Is there anything that, any discussion from city? No?
I looked at everything, as I remember.
There's one, I don't know his name. I know it's Carlos, we can't get his last name. Oh, okay. So if you see on page 3, that's the only thing, it says Carlos and then a bunch of stars because they didn't get his last name last time. So I will update that.
Okay, if there's no discussion, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, motion and second, all in favor? Okay, new business, item 7. Action on the conditional use permit requested by Jose Sanchez and Esperanza Ruiz to be able to place a 2019 28-foot by 58-foot manufactured home on his property. Property's legal lot description being Lot 17 in Block X, Pearsall Addition, located at 206 South Willow Street. Property is currently zoned as an NR1 single and 2-family dwelling district. Okay, this is an action item. We've already discussed this, so
Do we make a motion to approve?
you can make a motion, yes.
I make a motion to approve. Second.
There's a motion, there's a second, all in favor? Motion carries.
The size we are approving is now 18 feet, not 28 feet.
To approve the conditional, well, they're approving the condition.
We're approving the
It's fine.
conditional use
Okay,
permit
that's fine.
with the condition as it was stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7B, discussion and possible action regarding 2019 payment for litigation titled South Texas Electric Cooperative Incorporation versus Frio County Appraisal District, number 18-09-00349 CVF. This is an action item.
Motion to discuss. Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, council members, you have 2 documents that are given to you as part of this. This is the lawsuit dealing with the second appraisal issue that us and all the other governmental entities are involved in. The first document is a letter from the Frio County Appraisal District dated March 21st, 2019, and it lays out the breakdown of for each one of the entities during this year. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that, so that you understood what our portion was for this year. They've actually done it a number of different ways on there. They broke it down where you can do it monthly, quarterly, or for the year. You can pay it in 3 different ways. And of course, if you they're just like a credit, they're like a credit card company or insurance company. I guess if you pay it monthly, it's a little bit more because that charge a little extra charge. If you pay it quarterly, it works out to a little bit less. If you pay the whole year, it works out to a little less. We have received a bill from them. That's the second document that you have, which was dated April 3rd of 2019. They billed us for a quarter, it appears, but they have the full amount in there for the full year. We could just, administratively, there's money in the budget in the contingency line item just to pay this, so that we're done with it and we didn't have to talk about it. I wanted to make sure that you guys made a decision where you wanted this to come from. If you wanted it to come from the contingency line item, or if you wanted it to come from someplace else. So we've got the money in contingency to pay it.
So we'll just pay the year, the first year, we don't, that first year, not have to worry about the budget again. So what I wanted you guys, if there was something, if you guys didn't want to pay the whole first year, if you want to do it monthly, if you want to do it quarterly, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, it's fiscally better to pay the whole year and get it over with. But if you guys want to do something different, I want to make sure you guys have the opportunity to decide if you wanted to do something different or pay it something different. So if you have any questions, that's fine. Administratively, the decision would be just to pay the first year out of contingencies and be done with it. We wouldn't have to worry about it until next year. But that's up to you guys. That's, if you guys want to do something different, that's fine. So it is on here as an action item in case you want to do something different. If you want to say, no, we're going to pay it monthly, we're going to pay it quarterly. If not, then we don't need to, if you guys say that you just want to get it over with and be done with it for this year, then we don't need to take action on it because that's the way we do it.
So the first year contribution is $11,900.
$11,911.05 is the first year contribution, our portion. And we're paying we're paying 7.94070345% of the total bill. That's our portion, based on the amount of taxes we collect.
And who are we paying this to?
The Frio County Appraisal District, and that's how they're funding the attorney in the litigation.
Oh, okay. And what jail account is this coming out of?
This will come out of contingencies out of the administration and general fund. Unless you guys decide something.
Is there a good balance in there, or?
There's 28,800 in there right now. We had to pay, if you remember, we have the emergency repair loan, we paid out of that, that we've got while we're working on getting our money back right now. So that money will come back sometime before the end of the fiscal year, hopefully. But we got plenty there to pay.
That's in the admin in general.
Yes, sir.
So where else would it come from? It didn't come from contingencies. I mean, that's a logical place, I
That's
guess.
a logical place, I think, but if you guys have another idea or something else, if you wanted to do it a different way, if you want us to come back into a budget amendment and create a different line item so that it tracks it over history, I mean, that would be another way to do it. We can transfer money, you can say the action item is to create, we want to create another line item and move money into it so that we're tracking it rather than just taking it, because that contingency line item every year, I mean, it doesn't really show, if we spend the money on it, it doesn't really show the public where we spend it. They have to go into the paid bills to see what actually was paid out of that contingency line item. So another way to do it might be to set up a line item for it. And we can do that with the budget amendment at the next one and set up a new line item and transfer money so that it's better to track if you guys want to see it. And there might not be a bad idea because then everybody remembers to fund it again the next year. It's not going to be forgotten to fund it next year, obviously. But that way at some point somebody can go back and say, oh yeah, that's where the money went, let's pay for that. So to me, that would be the other choice, but it's up to you guys.
Well, do we have time to do that? April, it just says due April 2019. Does that mean May 1st or?
I think whatever we pay, they'll be fine with it. They know it's coming, so they're not worried about it. Because right now, they're still paying out of the balance that they have.
Yeah. Well, it probably would be better if we set it up as a line item.
I think it would be prudent to do that.
Yeah.
That way we can track transparency of it that way.
Yeah.
Track any transactions from now on in the future on that.
Since this is an action item, can we go ahead and, do we have to set that up on the agenda specifically, or can we request that you do that?
The action could just be to table it and request that we come back with a budget amendment to address it instead.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make a motion, or Mayor Pro Tem, Julian, sir. I'd like to make a motion that we come back to the council, a request to set up a line item for the payment of Frio County Appraisal District for the lawsuit versus STEC. And I'm going to make it the same time that we go ahead and pay that annually, the full amount, and then so that it shows up on the budget every year so we can be prepared for that.
So you wanting to table it?
Yes, to table it so that we can bring it back to the next council meeting.
A motion to table. Side.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
So motion is second. All in favor, to table this item? Okay. Item 7C. Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of bid process for City Hall Annex Building. This is an action item.
Motion to discuss?
It's a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Madam Mayor, Council, before I have Rick show you what they've come up with, kind of a little recap on this whole, how we got to this point. This is an item that was requested to be on the agenda by council at the last meeting, to see where we were at in this process. As you remember, after the arson fire at the neighborhood center, the city council developed an improvement plan to replace the purposes of that building in a three-phase approach. One, to renovate Bolton Park. Two, to build a building across to build a building somewhere in town that would serve the other functions that the old neighborhood center had historically served. So all we came up with was a building across the street. And then the third was a purchase of the building on Hackberry for storage. So we've got the park well down the road to where it was going. When TML was here at the grand opening of the park, the TML representative and I had a discussion about what we needed to do as next steps to recover the rest of the money. Her response came to us in an email from the TML IRP board, and basically what they're saying is that to recover the depreciation that we have left, and what they want us to do is to go out for bid, to accept a bid, and once we've accepted the bid, to send them that accepted bid, and then they will cut the check for the rest of it. We have $1,172,832,831 left that can be recovered for the construction of this new building. So we had previously tasked L&D with designing the building. We had one meeting where we kind of looked at an original draft and talked about some things at that meeting, and it's been a while. So I think they finished that up. I'll let Rick go through the schematics of the job.
You see our floor plan, we reduced it to where we have 4,650 square feet where we can meet our budget. Can you show me the picture in 14? Let me show you some of it might look like. You see the other page. That's what we're thinking is going to look like at the outside. But we're ready to go. All we were lacking is hopefully by the end of the week we're going to have our HVAC plans back, and then we can get 100%. We're like 98% right now. So we're ready to bid in the next week or two with your approval. And we're looking probably like $1 million for the building.
Oh, sorry, Frank, do we have the other picture? Oh, you guys have got pictures up there too, right? You put some of the plans out there. The last discussion we had with council on the building was a large meeting room, large enough for the city council meetings, so we could actually have a real meetings. The building would also serve the purposes of municipal court, so it would have an office for the municipal court judge and the clerk, and a conference room in there with the reception area for the receptionists, and a few offices for staff members if we needed to expand it there for staff members, along with men's and women's restrooms and a secure lobby. So that's what's on that plan that you have in front of you right now. We had the TML insurance people down here today. They were going through the Civic Center, reevaluating the Civic Center now, the renovations and stuff are done out there. One of the conversations that we had with him today was about, we were talking about what they came up with for a final cost. We'd done an estimate on what the value was of the Civic Center after we did the renovations. Their cost came out very similar to what we'd come up with. But we were talking about, when you're talking about replacement costs now, even a year after Harvey, or a year and a half after Harvey now, replacement costs are still well above what they were because there's still so many people building on the coast that sometimes it's hard to get builders in these areas to build because they've all pretty much just stayed on shop down there. They've been down there for a year and a half. When we did the Civic Center, we got really lucky because we had a contractor out of Castroville that wanted to work around home for a while. So we kind of talked about some of that with the deal. So we're hoping that we'll have some local area contractors that want to get closer to home to work for a little while. And we'll see a good bid like we saw when we did the Civic Center. But we may bid it out and have to come back and look at it again if those costs are still really high. So
We're pretty confident that our costs will come in around what we've set them at. But we did work around to trying to get at least anywhere between 40 to 60 people in there. And if you look at the plans, we have there for about anywhere between 60 to 75 people to sit there. If you look at it, you have the most you have to do maybe 50. So I think 50 would be good, pretty comfortable.
How many square feet was it?
4,650 square feet?
4750?
46.
Rick, is there a dedicated data closet in here?
I didn't take a look at it, so I'm sorry. I can't see these plans. I have the big plans in his office.
There is, we haven't had one in, I've never seen it. There's an IT closet, an air conditioning IT closet.
Yeah, we talked about it, to get it AC like we had talked about.
Right.
So yeah, we do have something here.
Okay.
To meet all the needs.
What AC had y'all talked about?
The AC dedicated for the closet for all the computer system to keep it cool.
Oh,
It has to be dedicated, so.
no.
It's just,
That's
designated for it. It's all separate unit by itself.
And so Rick, you estimated it was gonna be what do you expect the bids to start coming in at? I mean, I know it can be all over the page, but
Our bids, we estimated between $1,006,000. And the high end would be $1,099,000. So anywhere between $215 a square foot to $235 a square foot.
and criteria for your contractors.
I'm sorry?
Criteria for your contractors.
It's just like any other picture, you know, that we have to have them certified and bonded. Yeah, insurance bond, surety bond, just like everything else. So hopefully we'll get enough contractors like the ones we got for the PD, and we had some pretty good contractors. We had a good choice on those, but the low bidder that came in did a really good job. So well, we can, of course, we'll bid them, and if we have any issues, we'll let you know.
And of course, once you guys approve going out to bid, it'll go out to bid, all the bids will come in, you guys can review them, and you guys can review all the things that does.
Okay, so.
Once I have the open bid, I can invite you guys over, you know, just 2 or 3 of you to come and look at the bids. Open with you.
So that's what funds we have available for this project, right? So, the park project, has that been completed? Do we have everything?
Well, everything that you guys kept asking for, because you kept asking for more, we originally figured about $450,000, and then we spent about $600. So we spent a lot more money than what we originally planned on. So we kind of been talking about some of those things, keep trying to add them in, you know, the bathrooms, we still got to try to figure out some of the bathrooms over there. But the money that we originally had, that's gone. And now they're telling us the way we get more money is to build a building. So I think because we gave them original budget of what we anticipated we were going to spend, and we were going to spend on that park, and we haven't gone over that budget of the park. And they didn't say anything about that. I mean, they didn't get excited about that, but they're saying before we get any more, this is what has to happen.
We'll be able to put the restrooms at the park?
At some point, I think we have enough money left to do the restrooms in the park. We definitely will be able to renovate. We may end up renovating the one and putting one new one. It depends on what we come up with the prices. So we saw prices at one time of about $50,000 for a new restroom, and the last time we looked, they were like 120. So I don't know if that had something to do with what happened with Harvey too, why the prices jumped or whatever. So we're still shopping around, trying to do something back at what we had originally seen for prices of bathrooms.
We have one design in Dilly that hasn't gotten built yet, and it came in at like 150,000. You saw that. So it's up there, and that's because we have to meet ADA. And now those were built to meet ADA standards because they were out of compliance. So we also need to look into the ADA compliance, and that we need to have a sidewalk from the parking lot to that restroom also. So
A wide enough sidewalk.
a wider sidewalk with the correct slopes and entries to the bathroom. So it could very well be over 100,000, depending on what we can get away with. As far as like minimizing it, we can do 2 stalls. And that's a baseball park, so they have a lot more people than this.
The prefabs that we looked at are reason, at some point, those prices are gonna stay more. So there's no way they don't overnight, and they're gonna stay there. The prefabs are a whole lot easier to bring in and set down than it is to build a new set of bathrooms. So we're still around, we're still looking, we'll figure out something about it. It's just, finding the right price, find something we can work with.
Any other discussion?
So our recommendation on this is to, is to move forward so we can get our bids in, put out the bids, and then we'll let you know as soon as those bids come in. We'll set out a bid date, and then when it closes, and then it'll be the paper, it'll be the website, and then I'll have one of the ladies that y'all know when we're having the open bid.
What kind of timeline you looking at?
If it's approved tonight, we should put it on for bid by next week, probably, within the next 2 weeks.
And then the process comes.
And then the process is, we open for 2 weeks, the bids.
So 2 weeks.
Probably 2 weeks.
Probably from now until you guys have a bid to approve, maybe the next meeting.
Yeah, probably by the next meeting. If I can get them out by next week, the bids, yeah, by the following meeting, we should have them. Yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks, then I can have a.
I make a motion.
Is there any other discussion?
Because I wanted to make a motion that we table this item for further discussion.
If you have further discussion, why not do it now?
There's,
Because there's other council members that aren't here. We need opinions from them as well.
well, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second? Okay, there's no second at this time, so is there any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the bid process for the City Hall Annex building.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the bid process to begin the annex building.
Second.
There is a second. All in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-1. Okay, next on the agenda is item 7D. Discussion and possible action regarding fees for the use of city parks and donation of memorial equipment. This is an action item.
Motion to discuss? Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, Council, before Ram starts going over the document that he's given you, just want to kind of preface this a little bit. So we talked about after we finished the splash pad at the sports complex, so immediately people started calling, if they could rent that little park for parties and whatever. And now we've got the big park done and everybody's bombarding him with wanting to rent and block off and keep people from using the parks while they're using it. And so this tonight isn't put in front of you for a vote, unless that's what you guys choose to do. The main thing we're trying to get to this is we got to start having a conversation about what we're going to do if we're going to rent out parts of the parks, if we're going to make parks available for private use during certain times of the week, whatever you're going to do. He's going to be bombarded with calls. Our fee structure is very antiquated for if there is rental of parks. So they're basically calling to rent all park for $40 because that's what the old ordinance says that they can do. So we got to do something to change some of this, whatever. So I tried to sit down and look at it and come up with some ideas on this and to give you guys some thoughts tonight. So he's giving you this, and it's got the red line version. So this, the stuff in red is what he's proposing for changes. I'm gonna let him talk to you about that, and then we're just maybe just gonna kind of sit on this for a while until the next meeting, so everybody can think about it and come up with a plan. Because I mean, this is a park fee ordinance. Park fee is an ordinance because it is a fee, it's an ordinance. And so we don't want to do it and then turn around in 2 weeks and say, oh, we should have thought about this, let's add this, or whatever. So kind of give everybody a little bit of time to start thinking about what we want to do if we want to rent them out at all. If we want to be able to, if we even want groups to be able to get a park and close it off for the event that they're having, or if we don't want to do that, period, I mean, whatever. That's your decision, but we gotta kind of start talking. So Ram, why don't you go over this portion of it?
Mr. Chairman, Council, good evening. As you all know, the improvements to Patini Park were completed a month ago, and the demand for the usage has been incredible. And with those improvements, our city park rules and regulations would also need to be improved. Once again, if you want me to go through every red item that's on there, that's what I recommend. If you want to, I can take questions. But what I did was, like I said, those strictly recommendations.
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of requests are you getting, basically?
Request, what I'm getting right now is if I go over there, like Tate was saying, if I go in there and I rent the park for $40, I want the whole park. I want everything.
But is it for,
exclusive.
is it for parties, is it for?
It needs to be for parties. Basically, right now it's just for parties. You know, and right now we're getting the majority of what the county had. They went ahead and canceled the county and are coming to the Patini Park. The reason is because we're at $40. You know, we don't have anything on the rules for company parties. You know, this is going to be our first one. It's going to be coming in. I think it's May, sometime in May. But other than that, we are booked every weekend from now till unless they get it's either June or July. But we're booked every weekend. So what I want to do is I want to keep the fees compatible to the county. The highest they do is, I think, it's $75 for an 8-hour usage. I want to jump it for us, like I said, ours is the $20 rental and $20 deposit. Everything is clean. We give you back to 20. We rent the whole park for $20. That's including electricity. You know, so I wanted to increase the fees up to the rental fees up to 75. Like I was saying, it's like I'm talking about the company picnic. I recommend we move it up, we jack it up to 200, providing that there is they provide security, and it's an 8-hour minimum. Those barbecue pits are going crazy. I had people running it out, and they were upset because people on the other side would just walk in there and just use the barbecue pits and the picnic tables. I don't have any rules for that to say to chase them out. So we just have to tell the customer, please excuse them, or keep it down. But other than that, basically that's some of the problems we're having right now.
And I'm sorry, are we talking about Patino Park or all of them in general? Or?
For right now, we're talking Patino Park, and the fees will be for the same for both for Patino and Moreno.
And how many hours are you planning to rent it out for?
Every time it's for 8 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours.
But, and this is just a question, do we want to rent that whole park out? I mean,
I thought there was like a party area we could restrict,
Well, that's what he's kind of been trying to do, is to restrict them over there where the pavilion and the pits are at, until they can have that in use of the bathrooms, but we're not, we're telling them, you can't rent out the skate park right now, you can't rent out the splash pad right now, because we have no provisions for that. And that's kind of what this is getting at, we gotta make that decision. But then here's the other problem, if we're gonna tell private individuals they can't rent the whole park, why are we letting churches rent the whole park and keep everybody out?
And those
Churches have private functions there too.
Those are the only two we allow, which would be the Pearsall Independent School District and the churches that are having their special events have exclusive uses to the parks. We'll lock up the gates for that. But when you have a birthday party or a family reunion, it's basically we're trying to tell them, you know what, I can't close the park because of the public.
and there's that much demand where people want to close the park? I mean, they want it all to themselves?
Some of them they understand. They say, you know what, it's fine, no problem. I'll just take my little park over here, and they can have the rest of the park. But
Is it just 2 months ago, you know what, it's for everybody, first come, first serve? Is that a better solution, or?
and that's what it is. It's first come, first serve. But you have to, if you want electricity, Of course, from now on, since the park has been open, we've been opening up the restrooms every day, 7 days a week. Because the demand's there.
So who's gonna be in charge if it does get approved for it? I mean, who's gonna be in charge of the booking and taking payments and stuff like that?
Like always, up here at City Hall, front desk.
Here's the thing that's kind of, you asked about the demand. If you could rent a $500,000 park for $40 for 8 hours, what would you do?
Yeah.
You can't go to Chuck E. Cheese and get that kind of, where are you gonna, the demand right now is incredible. Part of the reason we talked, when we talked about the second splash pad over there, part of the reason we talked about the second splash pad was because we did have such a high request for people to be able to rent out the one at the sports complex for birthday parties, because it's a controlled environment. And so we talked about, no way we do that until maybe we get a second one open. If we get a second one open, then that's something that could be considered. Because it is a small, it's a small area right there. But then, then Ram says, okay, that's fine, but what if it's a Saturday, they want to rent it, we have a tournament, that's part of the draw for the tournament. So, I mean, it's kind of a touchy, it's a touchy thing. We just put $500,000 of taxpayer money into that park, and now we're gonna turn around and charge people to use it and not let other people use it because somebody's paying to use a public park. I mean, that doesn't sit very well with me. That's the gauntlet though too, because you gotta do the same thing, if you got a large group, a church group or something that wants to use it for a weekend, why can a church use it if a private individual can't rent it? What's the difference? Because the church ain't gonna pay for it. They're gonna come in and ask for the fees to be waived. Every time. And then they're gonna make money off of a public park that the public can't use that day. So there's a lot of issues with renting those parks out to me.
But we already have a protocol. That was the old one in here where we do have a fee structure, so we'd have to, but I concur. I mean, I assume when you go to the park, you expect everybody else to be there. And it is to think about renting that out it's kind of sounds foreign.
Well, and the first thing, everybody around knows that we've got 2 splash pads. I mean, we're the only city around. You gotta go to San Antonio to find 2 someplace else. So we're getting draw from other places and people come. First time they come to Pearsall and that park's rented out for the day and they can't get in, they're not gonna come back. So that's part of, who knows, they might have been bringing sandwiches and not spending any money here. They might have been spending money on lunch too. So I mean, there's a whole lot of, I think there's a way we could designate some of the smaller areas maybe as rentable, but not, that brand new $500,000 park, I really have a problem renting that. We're closing that off to anybody. People buy there any day of the week right now, it is jam packed. And those people that are in there using that park are the ones that can't afford to rent it.
That's public.
I would also add, trying to enforce that, and you're talking about, I'm assuming we're gonna get called, the police department, and we're gonna be forcing kids out of the park. Can you imagine the public uproar that would occur? Videos of police keeping kids out of the park. I don't want to be part of it.
It's not so much the big park, right now it's the canopy and the barbecue pit area. That's where all the questions are about. If you look at my recommendations, I go ahead and do 1 barbecue pit, 3 picnic tables, $50. 2 picnic tables, $100. That gives you 6 tables and so on and so forth. All 4 with all 12 tables would be $200. But then you have people saying, well, you know what? It's still too small. I want to rent 1 barbecue pit and 6 tables, but then I have another crew over here, another party in it. It's just too close. So what do we do? Do I lock up the barbecue pits and only put up a sign and say, if you need a barbecue pit, go to the city hall and pay rent it with the tables, and we'll come in here and unlock it? Because there's going to be days where they're going to need to call the PD out there.
Well, we've got a really nice community center that they can rent.
We've got more than one guys.
And then, I'm not saying that they're not allowed to barbecue, because every picnic table has a small barbecue pit. But, And somehow they like those big ones.
You know, that's the one thing about the one plan he has for renting out the pavilion area with the 4 bigger pits, is that doesn't keep somebody from going over there and having a barbecue, because there are 12 other stations to go sit at the table and have a barbecue, the smaller pits. It's something, I mean, you're not gonna throw a brisket and 12 racks of ribs in the smaller pits like you can in the bigger ones, but, I mean, there is some, maybe some potential to do something like that.
You know, this is just throwing this out for conversation, but what about just put a sign at all our parks? These are public parks, first come, first served. And just
That's what I think.
let it, and don't rent them out. It's like, no, you go there with all your citizens and have fun.
They're community parks for the community.
We have to pay for electrical.
Yeah, they would have to, yeah, it's still, if they want electricity, they're still gonna pay for electricity.
They got to pay for electrical. They again.
Do we have a mechanism to lock those outlets up?
Yes.
Okay.
What if we put a credit card meter on those lights or something, you know? Swipe it, you get 2 hours, you know?
Nice.
And I'm just thinking that maybe down, just to make it easier on the staff, you know, so we don't have to get someone sign up and, you know, have that particular, just, I'm sure they've got such a thing.
And then right now, on the lights, they, you know, they're photo sensor controlled, we have timer on some of them, they come on and go off at certain times, and that's the only time there's light. And then normally it falls in with curfew times, it's 30 minutes after curfew if it's still dark in the mornings, which is not, but it's 30 minutes before curfew at the end of the day, just like we have the splash pads. That's what time they turn off, 30 minutes before curfew, because that gives the kids time to get home before curfew. So we have pretty good control on that. I mean, the staff doesn't really have to do, what's killing his staff right now is the people that are using that park are, there's the trash everywhere. Nobody picking up after themselves anyway. And there's days they're cleaning that park 3 times a day.
We said, I would say probably a good 15, 20 more trash cans out there. Trash cans are empty, but all the trash are on the park.
Well, this is another question about the lights. I mean, it is the public park, so wouldn't that be a city expense? I mean,
The lighting, yes. The electricity we're talking about is if they want to plug in for a band or for something like that, it's the electrical outlets to plug in, crock pots or whatever else. That's not a normal park function. So we have electricity there at the older pavilion, but all the electricity around it, so when you have a band in there or whatever, you can open it up and you have power for the band. That's the electricity we're talking about that we've always charged.
and what are we talking about?
What do we charge per hour?
It was $45.
40? That sounds right.
$45 an hour or something like that.
Okay.
That's what you had set.
Yes. But that's if you have, you know, like a major festival out there that you have a big band, there's a whole lot of voltage.
But that's gonna be on us anyway.
I think,
If it's major festival, we're probably doing it anyway, so
Yes.
we're gonna be paying it anyway.
Waiving fees.
I think you need to possibly look at structuring fees where maybe there can be some rental of the park, however, not, make it to where it's not like so easy to rent it. I mean, if it's a big company that wants the whole park, they need to pay. The Civic Center out there, what does it cost, about $800 to rent it a day? I just don't want to see it being rented every weekend and our community doesn't have access to it.
And the way the ordinance, that's why we brought this up, is the way the ordinance is structured right now is what everybody's trying to do, because it's so cheap. I mean, everybody's just like, well, for $40, $20, I can get all this and it's mine. And so that's disproportionately affecting the people that we actually renovated the park.
And if we do accept the fees, I'd like to stay the same as the county.
And that did happen immediately, but you know, everybody quit renting firemen's because there's so much more over there now. And so immediately they quit renting firemen's and they all ran over that because it was cheaper and there was more stuff.
But their fees are what, 75?
Excuse me?
What are their fees?
75.
So from 40 to 75, that's not much of an increase, right?
Yes.
And what part of Fireman's Park do they rent?
The whole park?
The whole park?
The whole park, the pavilion, and barbecue pit area.
And does it keep people out of that? I mean, do they really, hey, we got whole control of this, so you can't come here? I mean, does that?
Pavilion.
I mean, like I said, I've talked to several renters and customers, and I explained to them, you know what, I can't close the park. I have to have it open. Do you mind? I said, no, we'll take our corner over there, which whatever they specify on their permit. Maybe the canopy area, maybe the pavilion, and they allow the rest of, the gates to be open and people to utilize the park.
I know other places where I've seen that they do rent portions of the park, it's just portions, it's a pavilion. It's
Exactly.
not the whole park.
So, if you have any questions, table it.
And I think, we want to start the conversation, this is a conversation I'll finish in one night. Because this is going to take some thought, maybe look at what other cities do with parks like that. Unfortunately here, my biggest concern is, we focused on that park in this project for a very specific reason. Was to reach those people there, because those people in that part of town, that's our lowest income portion of our town. And so now you start taking that park away from them. We just gave it to them, and now basically start taking it away from them by locking the gates. And to me, that's a terrible policy decision to do that. But maybe there is a way where maybe we set off, maybe on the big barbecue pits, maybe 2 of them are available for rent, but the other 2 are always open to the public, first come, first served. But we've got all those other ones out there. Maybe there's a way to piece out a part of it where everybody can still use the park, but if somebody wants to, Councilman Hernandez's granddaughter's birthday is May 4th, and she wants to make sure that she's got someplace to have for that birthday party for that little girl on May 4th, without having to get out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and sit there and wait. Maybe there's a way to be able to establish one small area where we can do that kind of stuff, because then they've got their place to sit and cook and do their stuff, and then the kids can take off and go use the rest of the park with it like everybody else.
One part of it is until we have 2 sets of restrooms, we cannot restrict restrooms.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't restrict restrooms, period.
Right.
Anyway.
And like I said, with the demand now, they're open 7 days a week.
Right.
I don't know how frequently you guys have gone by there since the grand opening, but that place is busy all the time. You go there right now, there's more people there than there is here.
Exactly. That's true.
That's what we wanted.
And I think,
Exactly, that's why we did it. That's why we did it. So that's part 1, and I'm going to have Peter come out here to help around with part 2. Going back to another conversation that started there at the Casino Park, and Peter's been on me about this for a while, we just haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, I know that we get approached by the Yao family. They used to have that little memorial there out there, and we got, I started talking around about, well, why don't we ask them if they're willing to do this or that. But one of the things I thought of is like donating a bench or a tree and donating to the city. And the reason I bring it up is because my father was also recently passed away, and his last wishes were to be cremated. And so my family really isn't, we don't have anywhere we want to go and sit and spend the day with my dad. My kids want to, we don't have a cemetery to go visit or anything like that either. And I think that the Yao family was kind of in that same boat, and which is why they had kind of constructed the little makeshift deal there. But I was thinking maybe this is a way that maybe we could do that, and it also benefits the parks, it benefits the community. And what I would say is, you guys would say, approve a certain type of bench and say, hey, if you want to donate a bench, it's going to be this bench, and you're allowed to put this size plaque on it or whatever, and tell me where I need to go buy that bench at, so I go buy it and donate it, and I can put in loving memory of Roger Salinas, loving father, or whatever. And it's just another something for the park, and it also gives me a place to take my kids to go and think about our loved one.
And it'll get some more community investment in our parks, might help keep them cleaner, might help keep them nicer. If we establish some guidelines for, okay, so for memorials and city parks, you can do a bench, you can do a tree, You can do water fountain, whatever, come up with 4 or 5 things and add at the end of that ordinance, into the parks ordinance, and say it has to be this style bench, it has to be this style, whatever. So they're all the same, and we don't just have somebody running and buying the cheapest bench, they can, something that looks good, that's gonna last, that can handle the traffic, and they'll be consistent. And then it wouldn't, then they can be, these things can start going in all of our parks, so they just have to be, maybe somebody wants theirs in a rental park, because they live closer to the rental park, or maybe they live closer to the sports complex, because they live closer to the sports complex, so we could have multiple locations to put these. And another way to add to our parks.
Is it marked where his previous place was at though? Is it still marked or did it?
No,
No?
because it was just a corner of the fence, and actually where it was at wasn't the original location, because it had moved.
It moved.
Yeah, it had moved, so that wasn't even the original location where it was at when we redid the parking lot.
I talked to him a while back, I think it might have been about a month or 2 months ago, one of the family members, and I explained to her, she said, you know what? To me, it'd be nice if it was my family, plant a tree, like Peter was saying, a bench, is it, we can put it inside the park, close to where the memorial site is at, so it's up to you, I think that'd be nice, that'd be real nice. And I said, there's been people already that have planted trees in Patino Park, in memorial of a loved one.
I actually spoke to the sister when we were, I took stuff back to the sister. And she said she was going to talk to her mom, and they did want to plant a tree. So, they are interested.
And we could establish, in the ordinance, it could establish if you do the tree, they go with a little memorial plaque to go with the tree. They make really, little nice ones that still don't have to worry about them disappearing, that, 2 foot, 3 foot pole down into the ground, but they're stationary.
You can decide even what kind of tree to accept, they won't just be any tree, you can say, you want this type of tree, or.
But you all plan to plant it in the park or?
Yes, yes, inside the park.
So like if we say, okay, this is the style of bench, are we gonna have to go out for bids for those style of benches? If we're gonna like just get them from one place?
Well, what we would do, we would probably just keep running tabs, because, they could either, what would be best would be for them to buy the bench, but we could purchase the bench for them as long as they reimburse us. We could do that out of the park fund as long as they reimburse it. And then, of course, once the council establishes a style of bench, if we got to that point and somebody could have said, okay, I want to do a bench, Peter Chris, I want to do a bench for yeah, okay, fine. We look at our vendors that do that style bench, whoever has the cheapest one, that's where we get it from. And council could establish style, color, location, placement, where they, under trees, away from trees, away from the playground, whatever. Or we could just let Ram, each time somebody wants to do one, they say, I want to put it in Rental Park. Well, look at the park, where's the next best place for a bench? Where's the place for us to have a little bit of shade, and then talk to that family, say, hey, this sort of thing, well, what did it have to be good with this?
That's a very good idea.
I think trees and benches.
I like both. And then they want to do, you have some people want to do both. Put a bench right by a tree that they plant, so they can go sit by that tree on that street. I can see that happen a lot, actually. Yep. Careful with oranges and grapefruits, because they smell bad when they fall off. I don't want to pick them up.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Ren.
So what I would recommend on this item, because we did have it on here as an action item, what I would recommend on this, if you guys want to think about this some more, you can table it, ask us to do something, to come up with some standards for memorials, if that's what you want, whatever. You can also, say that you want the action to be to put rescinding that park fee resolution on the next agenda, whatever you guys want to do.
So will you be giving us, getting like some pictures or something of the style of benches and
Sure,
stuff?
sure, yeah, we'll call it the whole gauntlet of stuff for you guys to look at there.
So what we're kind of thinking about is maybe just a very small fraction of the pavilion area to allow to rent.
It's up to you guys.
Is that?
That's up to you guys.
Everybody's thinking?
I think so, if it needs to be rented out, if there's high demand for it, but the main use has to be for the public.
Amen, yeah,
Right. And open at all times to the public.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no way we should restrict it, especially over there.
Well, anywhere actually, because,
Well, the thing is that
Taxpayer
they
money.
never had anything.
well, yeah.
And now it's really, you know, been improved and, I mean, how do you, like you said, you know, give it to them and then say, oh, nope, you can't use it today, you know?
And we
So it's up on
definitely don't need kids
You gotta
jumping
make
over
a
the
decision
fence.
whether you're going to do the same thing for the church. Catholic Church, when they have their festival. That's exclusive use of the park.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're gonna talk about that, let's do that, because I think if any group, doesn't have to be a church, if any group is going to be making profits, you know, that's taxpayer money that went into that park, that
Yeah.
went into that building, that went into the hall, or whatever it is. We need to seriously consider that, because it is taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
It was a lot of taxpayer money.
And especially, I mean, like you said, if they're making a profit, how is it that we're, you know, no.
I don't think asking them to pay for the electricity is too much.
Well, yeah, those are things we have to consider. I mean,
Well,
it's,
and that's the thing, I mean, those are two good points put together. They're always asking for the fees to be waived, it's costing us extra money, because we're paying for the electricity and everything too, so if the city bill goes up that weekend, they pay nothing, and then make whatever they make off of those activities, that's pretty tough to justify. I mean, because again, if you're good for one, you got good for all. And so if everybody starts coming in and saying, oh, I'm a 501c3, and you let them do it, so I want to do it too. Saying those will get you in trouble.
As you see in the fee schedule, there is under Bonaventura Park fee schedule for nonprofits, it's $350 per day. I mean, for one day. For profits, it's $700. And then you have a $300 utility surcharge for a 2-day event, and then $185 utility surcharge for a 1-day event.
It's actually on page 6, even though they're not numbered. So it's under section 11.
Yeah, that's on page 23.
Section
So-
11.
So would, for that, are we talking about closing the whole park though?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. And you guys have done that in the past. I mean, that's, the Catholic Church event every year, they come in and ask for the fees to be waived. That's what they've been getting waived, is that fee, and it shuts the park.
For that park, or which park are we talking
That was
about?
Patino Park.
Of course, it's kind of changed now.
Yeah, we have fees, yeah.
And it's a fundraiser? It's a fundraiser?
Yes.
Council hasn't approved that for this year, have they?
yes,
It's already been approved?
they were here before us.
It was done, I think, in February.
I never remember that motion.
And that's aside from personnel costs and
Yes.
other costs as well.
They clean up costs.
Would it be,
Waive fee-
I mean,
waive fees, they have no deposit either.
would it be, since we do have a great civic center, would it be safe to say we're not going to close that park? And just, hey, if you'd like to rent a really nice facility, you've got the civic center. You can, because it goes back to the same thing. Of course, for the church, I'm sure there's a lot of the people would be the same, but maybe they have to pay to get in. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud of what.
Well, does that festival have alcohol?
Yes.
So that's, the civic center, we got the higher fence, there's a lot better control than there is there. To me, it's a lot better control, for events that are gonna, council can come back and set a policy that says if you're gonna have a festival with alcohol, it has to be the civic center, you have to have the civic center. If you're gonna do it here. I mean, there's.
Church
you guys
festival in June.
establish whatever policy you want to. And there's a lot more parking lots.
Yeah.
But remember, I mean, that's a touchy area, touchy subject to hit on as far as the festivals, because you got all these people that say, well, you know what, it's been done every year since I was small. That's the only outing that we had. That's the only place that we can actually walk to a festival instead of drive. And so it's a touchy subject.
Tell me to think about till the next meeting.
Yes. And I also do believe this is made for when the school has their events out there during the day or during the evening. I do believe that we should have, they should have exclusive. on that because you want to keep those kids safe. As a matter of fact, we have one that's coming up, I think it's in May. I think it's going to be Ted Flores. They're having a 1-week event at Old Batini Park. And to me, I thought it'd be a lot safer for the kids and for the parents to know that, you know what, my child's going to the park and it's going to be safe. Instead of having, because we have a lot of guys walk in and out of that park since it's wide open. So I think I would feel comfortable at work knowing that my child is, you know, at an event or at a field trip and all the gates are locked.
But the other thing about those school events, they're during the day when the other kids are in school.
Yes.
And so that's a whole different, model. We're not telling kids, if a kid's trying to go in there that's not getting let in, they're supposed to be at school, so they shouldn't be going to the park anyway. So I mean, those events, that's a whole different story. I'm good with those. And then if we're keeping a bunch of weird looking, strange looking 30-year-old guys out of there, that's probably a good thing. During those events.
Any further discussion? No? So this is an action item, but we can take action on the donations maybe, the memorial equipment, or not. What would the council like to do?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we table this item with instruction to the city to bring us options for memorials for us to approve and give us time to consider these fees.
Okay, motion to table this item for further discussion.
Second.
And there's a second. All in favor? Okay. Item 7E, discussion and possible action regarding CO 2016 bond drainage project. This is an action item.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, Council, this is another item that was added to the agenda at the council at the last item. So I'm going to give you a brief update on where we're at on this, and then we'll see what questions you have about it and see if we can address those questions.
We've been discussing on where to start with the drainage, and we come down to, it actually come down to the county. We're going to set a meeting the next week to meet up with Judge Luna to see if we can get the county to, from Gilliam Road behind the county park, all that section needs to be cleared up. And so we can have a free flow from Gilliam Road all the way to 35. So we're actually going to start getting the surveyors in here the next week or two. They're going to go across the highway from 35 and start getting elevations all the way back to Pomala Street. So we can get an idea of where we're going to start, but we really don't want to start anything until the county takes action and starts cleaning up that section so we can have a free flow, because anything we do now, it's going to stop right there, at Gilliam Road, because it's so overgrown. There's trees, there's reeds that are about 12 feet high. It's like a jungle in there. You can't even see the
Refrigerators and freezers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some mess up. And if you look at it now, it's going into the park. It's not going to 35. I mean, it should be a running stream underneath on the other side, which before, about 3-4 years ago, you could see it. I mean, constantly going to, what branch is that, Chris?
It goes under 35 and goes to all those big things out there of,
Goes to the fishing hole.
Beavers, you know, the beavers, for the beavers property. And now it's like a strip, there's a little trickle going through there. And it should be flowing, and probably like 1,000 gallons a minute. It's all going to the park. So that's where we want to, when we do plan on, hopefully when we do start in the first section from Pomala to San Antonio Street, so we can eliminate all the debris building up. and washing out when the storms come in pretty hard. And then possibly then starting on Gillian Road back towards, let's see how far that money will take us. We can come up with some estimates once we get our budgets and see, but we need the county to do their part.
There's a lot of, I'm sorry. There's a lot of debris coming from País Street though, that hits Comal.
That's Z.
That's Z Street.
Z Street, Vice
Z Street,
Court.
Vice
Yeah,
Court,
and-
yeah.
and we talked about that, so that's gonna be shot, the elevation's gonna be shot on both at the same time. That's part of the reason we're talking about, we originally talked about starting at Kamal and working down. But then the board looked at it, if we don't start at the bottom end and work forward, it's not gonna really do any good. We've gotta get that water shooting out the other end, even though, because we don't have the clutter on that upper end that we have on the lower, so we'll work back up to those two, get it out of there quick, and that, we think that's gonna help the problem a lot faster than starting on the north end and working backwards.
Because all we're gonna do is just rush it to where we're at now, this is gonna overflow. It's gonna get there faster.
But you mentioned if we have the money to get all the way back north, are we
Well,
gonna have
we
the
don't
money?
have enough money to do the whole thing right now. We wanted to start on the two ends so we can get a good, a good flow, and then somewhere where you can have it's not gonna get tangled up and go into past Gillian Road. But right now, it's all just gonna come back. If we start over here by Gillian Road, it's already overflowing back from the sewer plant, coming back, once the outfall's coming in, and then when it rains, it pushes back before the heavy rains come in and push forward.
So if you start on the upper end and you don't do the lower end, then your work at the upper is still gonna end up probably being underwater or getting additional water damage. So starting at the lower end, you're gonna save money coming this way, because once it gets there, it's gonna get out. And so that's gonna protect that. So as we come forward, we may actually be on that lower end from Gillian back halfway, it may be concrete. But then from there up, we may do riprap or something else, because you don't have as much water standing in that area. Once we get that lower end draining line, that upper end, a lot of the problem of the upper end is gonna take care of itself.
We might just need some
Right now, it's just getting pushed back up there.
Yeah,
No,
that
so-
water should shoot all the way down there.
I'd like to thank Ramiro for keeping that area clean right there and Países right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It looks really good though.
Thank you.
Looks really good.
That's a big help.
It really is.
Julie.
Yes, sir.
That may be a little early, but early discussions with the county, do they know what we're gonna ask?
I talked to the judge about this, to Joseph, I mentioned it to them, they know we're coming, they know it's coming, and they know that if they don't do it, they're gonna be liable for potentially tearing up Gillian Road right there, because it's all gonna back up right there. That intersection, getting into Texon, they don't want to buy with Texon either. So they know they're gonna be, once we show up, they're gonna be.
And they have the equipment to do that, that should be pretty.
And if you look at it now, the erosion that is caused already, right, if you go to the fence of the sewer plant, you can see the erosion. It's already created on and gravel.
So that's just standing green water. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
nasty.
you see that green patch there.
And the other, as I recall, and you mentioned it, we were going to, from Colorado or 40, we're gonna pave a certain amount of that. Was that, not pave, but cement?
Yeah, once we get the grade shot, you use cement, depending on grades, some of the places, the farther up we get, if we can get into using riprap, using some other stuff that's cheaper, that's gonna work just as good, that's great. When it first comes out of that tunnel, it's moving really fast. So if we use some riprap to slow it down a little bit, that's gonna help all the way down through there. We need to get that lower end cleaned out by the county, and then we'll actually be able to get a better understanding of what's happening on the upper, because right now, we don't really know what our drainage will do there, because the county's does nothing. And so the reason the fish are on our part of the house because of the county, because they let all that water back up. So of course, when we have a spill and fish start dying out, we get in trouble for it, it's really not our fault, it's their fault. So once we get that part cleaned out, it'll make it a lot easier to understand that we can start working. Back up. And then that gets that water out there faster, so the quick growth you see right there at Vice, the quick growth you see right there at 1581 and Kamal, that slows down now, because that water doesn't sit there and just feed that stuff. That's gonna help a ton too. So each little piece we get done coming back up is gonna make a huge difference in the compound.
We don't know, it could be just a simple grading in between, and just fill it in and have it so it can have a free flow. And, but we need to clear up that, so we can see what it's doing. Right now, it's just all backing up right there, getting.
And what has been, cleared up with TxDOT and the Westview Apartments, remember that, those issues there? Techniques, you mentioned,
You know, I was gonna ask Robert about that today, and I forgot all about it. We gotta focus on this, and I forgot.
TxDOT has a line that's too small or something like that, pipe that's too small.
Well, TxDOT's not gonna change their line.
They're not gonna change it.
Yeah, they made that very clear, they're not gonna change that line.
It's Westview Apartment, getting their.
What we talked about, the Westview Apartments was the pond.
The holding tank or something.
All the pond, getting them to clean it out, and the pond.
This is sort of, add more than halfway full itself, right?
Well, it's got willow trees that are 12 years old, older. Inside the pond.
Okay. So any further discussion? Okay,
Okay, so that's the update on that.
all right.
So next. So we just take no action.
No action. All righty. F, 7F, discussion and possible action regarding rates for businesses, including utilities, permits, business licenses, certificate of occupancy requirements, and all other requirements. This is an action item.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I want to let Uche start with, he's got some handouts to give you regarding the permitting and stuff, we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about utilities.
Right.
Can we get copies of this?
Yeah, we'll get some.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman.
Chairman, it's fine.
Okay, Chairman. Chairperson.
Not the mayor.
Basically, as a way of introduction, my department, the Community Development Department, we have various activities that we charge fees for. Various, like permits, we charge fees. This is normal for most cities in the US, even around the world. They charge fees for, building permits, variance and all that. And we have a fee structure that has been approved by the council since 2004, which is what I gave. Thank you. And that's a long time. That's about 15 years ago. Now that fee structure, I don't know, and I don't think any of my colleagues know the things that went through behind arriving at the fee structure, the way they structure the fee schedule. But this is what we meant, and this is what we've been applying. The implication of that fee structure means that some people are not comfortable enough with the fees, especially the commercial rates, the commercial fees, not necessarily the residential fees. Because of the way the commercial fees are charged, they have a section A and they have a section B. And you have to charge on both of them. Okay? So because of that, a lot of people, businesses have encountered, I even encountered one today, because he was coming to do parking facility and sidewalk next to his business, just to enable his customers to park. Concept is very nice, it's a good thing to do. However, because he has to go through the permitting process, I gave him the fee. Of course, he was a contractor doing that, not the owner of the business. It's a doctor's agreement. But the contractor screened at the price, not at the fee structure we have. So at this time, because of all this, the feedback I'm getting, I tried to think of ways to encourage rather than discourage the businesses. You know, but these are just suggestions, and it's open to more from all of you. Whether we will do away with it, because the part A is based on the size of the property, not the building, the lot, the size, the acreage. So that's different from what you're doing. So even if you're remodeling your house, that is the part B. I will cost the remodeling. And then I will add a fee based on if you have 2 acres, I'm going to add that fee for 2 acres to what you're actually doing. So it ends up, you know, high. But that is the commercial. The residential doesn't have that kind of issue. So I'm wondering whether if you guys want, maybe for new businesses, either we charge, we give them a discount on that, or if we want to do away with either that part A. I have no clue why that part A is on board. If you want to do away with it, it's also up to you. But I just gave some suggestions. You are free to, you know, look at it and see whether there's even any need to change it.
Is there a
in 2010, the zoning administrator here actually came to the council to try and revise the scale of fees we had. I don't know whether it was approved, but I think it was, but it was only on variance, subdivision, plating, those kind of fees, not your everyday permit fee that I need. Because not every time they don't do variance every day. They don't do rezoning every time. But those were the ones that lady, you know, proposed to be reviewed, because the last time we had it was 1993. So in 2010, she came for a review. But this one I'm talking about more is on the one that was adopted in 2004.
And AF stands for what?
It's just a charge based on acreage, based on the area of your property, of your lot.
Application fee.
They call it application fee too.
So how do we compare with other municipalities?
Well, some municipalities, they charge as per the value of the project. But I have my reservations with that, because the customer can just come and like one customer came here but this is for residents, so she didn't go through this process. But I'm just using her as an example. She wanted to build a new house, but because you have to give an estimate of the cost of your project, because I have to key it into the system to generate, a number with which they will accept your fee. So I asked the customer, so give me an estimate, how much is the house going to cost you? She said $400. She thought her building permit fee was, a percentage of her estimated cost. She didn't know that it was a flat fee, regardless of whether it's $1, but she told me $400. I'm not here to start telling her she's not telling the truth. I just wrote $400. So people can just come and say their project will cost them X dollars. Who are you to judge? And I'm not a certified valuer. How am I going to say it's wrong? Okay? So that's my worry with that, costing when you use value of property or value of the project. Although they do it according to the value of the project. City of
I brought this up because I have heard from local businesses that how do we compare with other cities in terms of fees, permits, et cetera, because some of the business owners feel like they're paying excessively. I know that when we had our business forum in June of 2016 or 17, I'm not sure, I think it was 2017, two things that local businesses wanted. One was clean up the town so we could attract customers, business, whatever. The other one was ways for us to keep our local businesses in business. For us to, the city, think of ways to help them out as well. I don't know how the fee structure compares to other cities. I know that some of the cities I researched, their commercial fee for improvement, if you're going to make an improvement on your business, is the same pretty much as a residential improvement. Some cities have ways to entice businesses by offering them incentives. I don't know how this plan works with that. I don't think it works very well with it. Bottom line is, to be in a commercial business in this community, or maybe other communities as well, I don't know how it fares with others, you have to pay higher rates for utilities, water. I mean, it's the same water coming out of the same pipes and so forth. I don't know if the council wants to consider things like base rates on consumption rather than commercial versus residential. I mean, I don't know how we could do all this. I'm just thinking, AEP just raised their rates not too long ago on commercial, and it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. We just paid a $160 bill, and we don't use electricity. Our electricity consumption was $3 for the whole month. $157 was just fees, service charge fees, because it's commercial. They got permission from Utilities Commission to raise the commercial rates. So thinking about Pearsall and thinking about the small businesses, of course your larger businesses, they get help from their corporate, but the smaller businesses in town, it is hard to be in business because of the utility rates, the electrical rates. I mean, everything is very expensive. These couple of businesses just opened here in town. They're talking to me about their electricity bills. Well, they're very high, and then on top of that, we've got to pay $75 to register our business with the city, which, is there a need to pay that much or not? $50, $75 for occupancy? Okay. And on the occupancy, there's been a lot of talk in town from business owners about to renew the occupancy. They need the biggest issue I've heard is that they need to get a certified electrician to come out there and recertify, and that is getting expensive for some of these businesses. So those kinds of things that, there's no easy answer, but we kind of need to find a balance between what we need to do to keep businesses in place, attract new businesses, and still maintain some integrity with the process and maybe charge some fees or whatever we need to do. But, and that's why I brought it up, because it's just a little too much in some cases. And I know that I've heard from some of the local business people who've been in business for years. They've had their place open for years, and same electricity is flowing through there now. It was flowing there 5 years ago and yesterday, but now they're being asked to come up with a certified electrician, which is gonna cost them more money, so they can get a certificate of occupancy renewal. And so, those kinds of things, I don't know if all cities do that. I don't know if it follows the international code that we adopted, and when we adopted that code, I was under the impression that we were gonna modify it or customize it somehow so that it could work for us. I'm not sure where to go with this. It's just that commercial rates are taking a big hit on those people that are trying to do business legitimately in this town. There's a lot of business out there that's online and elsewhere, they're not having to pay a lot of those costs at all. And they're making money, and we're not getting taxes on some of that.
So let me address the CMO thing, because that's where I think the majority of the complaints are coming from right now. That's not a new ordinance. That ordinance has been on the books for 30 years. It just never was enforced. The direction we got from council started enforcing those ordinances and started trying to get that stuff in line. The reason that CMO is required to be redone every 2 years, the same electricity still flowing through that line that was 30 years ago. That line's not in the same condition it was 30 years ago. So if a citizen walks into that building and they get electrocuted in that building, that business is the only one that's going to get sued. The city's going to get sued too, because our ordinance said that we would have that inspected every 2 years. And I had, Mr. Petty came in here through a fit. I've had my business for 30 damn years and I never have had to do this, and now you're going to make me do it. It's like, well, yeah, we're going to make you do it. We're going to make sure your business is safe for the people that come in there and do business with you. Because as the city, we have a responsibility for oversight of those businesses to make sure they're providing a safe product. So, I agree, and the thing with the electricity, I wish there was something we could do about the electricity, because when you look at and it's not just on the commercial side, it's our citizens on the other side too. Their electric bill adds up to more than all their other bills combined, because the electrical charges are so high. We have employees that during the summer have a $300 or $400 electric bill. And that's just, that's politics in Austin is what that is, because they keep letting them increase the rates when they can't show that there's a need to increase the rates. I think, maybe look at some of the stuff like, okay, we don't care whether it's a business or it's a home construction, we're gonna charge them the same. I don't know if there'd be any problem with doing something like that. So that on these fees that you're seeing on here for a permit for new construction or a permit for an expansion or whatever, whether you're doing it to your house or you're doing it to your business, it's the same. I would assume, it would take us a while to dig through and see how these compare with every other city around us. But I would assume that since these are 15 years old, we're probably lower. Because most cities, when they do something like this, when they do these ordinances, that's what they do, is they look at all the other cities around them and can kind of grab something similar to the same rate. And I would bet that most cities around us have redone their rates since 2004. But that's something that can be done. It's just, we're stacked up with stuff to do anyway, but there's time to do. If that's something that's important, that's something that we'll do. Some of the things he has in the memo, one of the other things I handed you was the memo that he prepared for you about, maybe making it one set fee rate for whether it's commercial or residential. I don't think that's, that might be a fix to help the small businesses, or to develop to come up with a definition of what a small business is and say that residential and small business fees are this, large commercial businesses pay these, and that way the HEBs and them, they still pay those large rates. If your business is under, I don't know, 100,000 a year, under 50,000 a year, whatever, come with a number, or a size, or whatever, size of the building. You can come up with whatever designation you want to designate them as a small business. I think we could probably do some stuff there to help.
I think Hondo is one of those cities that has a comparable residential and commercial
$100 there by the value of the project.
The value of the project.
Yeah, incidentally, this is 100 square feet. By the value.
But whether it's residential or,
It's just value.
that's what I'm saying, it's the same as applied to both. The value, whether the project is 25,000 or 5,000 or 100,000. And this is Hondo's. It's just, yes, sir.
Just looking at this and thinking about it, what does it cost the city? What, for the inspection or for whatever it is. I think just falling back to let's just keep it really simple, and big business, little business. I mean, to me, the one fee for the commercial side, one fee for the consumer side, based on what, people are charging in surrounding areas, and just make it simple, that just, hey, here's what it is. Big business, little business, we all benefit. Big business come in, they're gonna employ 50 people, so that's huge. And so, a little business, $250,000 business, may cough at $1,000 fee, but $3 million business may not, so I don't know, but to me, I just think, let's just get a fee that's comparable for commercial, for residential, one fee for CFO, and one fee for residents. And to me, to split it down from new building additions, alterations, it's just one fee for all. That's realistic, whatever it would be for a consumer, I don't know, I'm just going back to this, let's just make it easy, simple. But yet still, so that it covers the city's cost, the clerk's time to fill out the permit, to file it, to keep up with it, anything other relative to that, but I don't see the reason why it's so differentiated between this and that and the other.
Well, the main reason I'd like to see it stay differentiated between small business and big business, H-E-B, Walmart, that money that they make doesn't stay there in Pearsall. It's gonna go to San Antonio or to wherever their corporate office is at, so they should be paying more. The small businesses, that money that's made in those small businesses is gonna stay there in Pearsall. That money's gonna, that $1 of profit they make becomes $7 spent in the community, because it gets recirculated here in the community as long as it stays in small business. So having a different fee structure for, or maybe, I don't know if it's legal to do it, is if you're a chain, it costs you this much. If you're sole proprietorship type business, then you pay a different fee. And that would be the equivalent to a residential fee. Something along those lines might be something that might be more. I don't think we need to let H-E-B and Walmart off the hook.
But
Nobody else does.
this is just a one-time fee, right? I mean, it's your building permit fee we're talking about particularly, so it's a one-time fee.
It's a one-time fee, but, a $500, $600 permit to fix the front of your store business, for H-E-B, that's a penny in the bucket. For a local merchant who's just trying to survive, that's a lot of money. And that's just changing out a window in the front of your building. It requires a permit. So
There's a way to structure it where the small businesses, the local small businesses can be protected. And be no different than working on your house. I mean, that's something, I think that's maybe lumping those local small businesses in with residential versus not making them commercial. Whether somebody's interested, if you're a local small business that employs less than 5 people or something, I mean, we come up with some designation.
we just got to figure a way to encourage people to fix their storefronts and things like that. And this is not very friendly towards that.
Discourage, our focus with Main Street, all the work that Leah's been doing, and if we have these fees too high, it works against our goals. Because we don't have any large merchants downtown. It's all local business. We're not gonna get those local businesses to keep making improvements, getting them downtown to beautification that we want if we overcharge. So I'd definitely like to look at reducing the cost for those local small businesses.
Well, something else you might want to consider too is if they'll do over a certain amount of work, you waive the fee to encourage them to do do that amount of work. If you'll do over $5,000 worth of work to your building, your permit's free.
There's gotta be some incentives. I know that other cities do that.
We do it, I mean, we can set up whatever it says, you can set a limit, you know, if you're gonna do work to your building, up 10,000 or less, you pay the same as a residential fee, but if you're gonna do $10,000 more worth of work to your business, your permit's gonna be free. To encourage, I would encourage those small businesses to make a serious investment in their buildings. I mean, if you redid a whole storefront, by the time you fix the facade, you redo the windows, you paint it, all that stuff, you're probably gonna be hitting that $10,000 somewhere, you're gonna be hitting a high dollar mark. We know that.
Labor alone is a problem.
Well, yes, if we're talking about a $150,000 bathroom, we might want to elevate that a little more. $10,000 probably just gonna put in the front door, you know?
But I think a $10,000 project is a project that maybe some of our small business owners can afford.
Yeah.
That's a real project to them. They can afford it, and so we say, you know, for $5,000, I mean, set it at whatever level you want to, but set it at a level where they say, okay, if I do $4,000 worth of work, I'm gonna have to pay a $100 permit fee, but, you know, if I do $5,000 worth of work, I'm gonna get that free, so that's just money I put back into my building, back into my business. So that's it.
Mr. Ritchie.
To the designation deal, number of employees.
5 or less, I come up with something, we come up with, we go with the small business definition. Small business administration's gotta have a definition that includes number of employees somewhere.
50.
15?
50 or less.
50 or less, that's a lot.
It's a small business, that's a lot of employees. Most,
Walmart's got 50 or less. They don't qualify as small.
that's their definition.
Yeah, that's it. We should get out.
I think in the case of chains, they're not, they look at corporate, they don't look at the local store. Because
So-
of that sort of thing, a small store like ours might squeak in.
So the question that I'm asked sometimes out in the community is, what's the commercial rate for? I mean, why are commercial water rates paid higher than residential water rates? What's that extra money for? I mean, why is there an extra fee?
Well, normally commercial rates are higher because they're making money off your products. They're making money off of whatever they're doing. If it's a car wash, they're making money off city water, where the normal consumer's not making money off of, they're surviving. So there's a designation there that's being used for profit.
So would it apply to all businesses though?
As long as it says, I mean, if you're getting, if you have a public restroom, theoretically, use that restroom for profit. I mean, that's, when they're in there spending money in your store, you keep them in there longer, if they gotta go to the bathroom really bad, you let them use the bathroom, they'll stick around longer. So most of the time, that's the reason that the rates are higher for a commercial business than they are for a residential, because it's not for survival.
I'd like to say something. You referred to when you were talking, when you were speaking about the code that we adopted, amongst other things. We should also remember that these codes are here to build in safety measures. Okay, and now a business attracts the public more than the resident. So we are very particular about businesses when it comes to the code. Like today, I went out with Rudy to one of the businesses, small business. The man has been in the business, I'm sure he's been there for, I don't know, maybe many months. So I wasn't going to start enforcing the code. Like we said on that day, if he was building a new house structure, the new code would kick in. But I just pointed out to him that before I could even come, he said, oh, so are you guys just going to move in and move out? That this is a new building, it's built to code. Oh, I already saw it wasn't built to code. So I allowed him to finish. And I said to him, well, the building is not really built to code. And he looked at me. And I asked him, if I was using a wheelchair, can I come into your office or your business? Because he didn't have any ramp. He didn't have any, provision for someone who is challenged. And he said, well, I guess co-chair people are not allowed there, you know. But that is not the code that we adopted, okay? And then he didn't have the exit sign. Although the exit sign, he can easily buy one, which he said that he can easily buy one, but he's not going to change that those steps because of the AGA compliance. But these are some of the things we see when we go and do the inspections. Some of these requirements, like that lady, the lady who spoke here, she talked of discrimination. Someone with a wheelchair can validly say that he's being discriminated against or she's being discriminated if she or he can't access the business. So these are, and it's the same Pearsall. So where do you want us to go? Are we going to adopt the code or not adopt the code? We need to adopt the code because it's something progressive. We need to see Pearsall move on with the times, regardless of whether whether we're struggling or not. We have to move on, or we seem to be moving with the time. It's not just relaxing because it's been done many years, or it has not been done many years.
Well, we adopted the code, right? Didn't we pass that through the council?
We did. No. So, like, I'm just making mention that the code that we passed is positive, is something positive.
I know, and it procures safety for all residents and consumer in the commercial business and stuff. However, we need to strike a balance between what we need to do and how the public is going to receive all this, because most people are learning about what needs to be done now because we have asked them to come register their business. Okay. So I don't know how the council feel, but it's kind of like a big surprise to them, so to speak, because they just don't realize. My intent with any of this is just, are we in line with what other communities our size, with our economic, socioeconomic? I want to see that. I believe that what you say, but I want to see that. What does Pleasanton do? How do they do all this? Because they seem to be much further ahead on business, attracting business, keeping business, and so forth. So we need to figure out how to work together on this, because we got to bring business to this town. I've been on the council for 4 years, and the only thing that I hear is no business wants to come here. Well, that's okay, but we got to work beyond that. We got to figure it out.
As Mr. Jackson said, these things have been here for ages, but they were not being enforced. So it so happened that we are now enforcing it. So the community is having a hard time adjusting. They will adjust. They will adjust to it and move on. I say in my office, when people come to submit applications, if they are contractors from San Antonio, you will see the difference. I don't have any stress. They just go to the website, click on what the requirements are, they bring it to me. They bring the drawings, they bring 3 sets, because that's what the application form says. I don't even ask for 3 sets from the local citizens. I'm struggling with one that is handwritten, hand-drawn. The San Antonio or people from outside, they do theirs properly, just as they read on the website, and bring, because they're used to the standard. I know we're going to have a long way because I'm easing them into the standard. That's why I'm accepting hand-drawn drawings with that. At least the only thing I ask you is put the dimension for me. Okay, so I will see. But even that, people kick against it. And then they complain to the mayor, they complain to the city manager. So I just told the city manager that, I don't like when customers come, they don't feel happy. So we should take a decision if we're going to go on that road or not. If not, let's stop all this. Let them do what they want to do. I don't like people when they come, they don't feel happy. They think I'm the one, like that lady said, meanwhile she hasn't even submitted an application. but she was already thinking that it's been approved. No application is on my desk. You know, but I'll have to remind her tomorrow that we still don't have an application. But people get, displeased or disenchanted with what's going on. They think we're making things hard for them. We're just trying to align them to what's going on.
What application are you requesting?
The building permit application that he said the manager approved.
We work with that. Well, this kind of falls into this.
Yeah.
So they have to file the application form. But part of what you're hearing out there, part of what we see and hear every day, they come in, they talk to one person, they don't get an answer that they like, then they go start complaining to you guys. Then they come back and they talk to another person, and they don't get an answer they like, and then they go complain some more. And then they come back in and talk to me, and the whole time, we're all working with them, trying to help them get to where they need to go. That's why she has a drawing in her hand that he helped her do, that he helped her change, and I helped her change, so that she would have what she needed to be able to file the application and do it. And then it's all, everybody's against me, and that's a mentality I've seen ever since I've been here. We used to talk about this before we started the work order process, remember? Every time somebody went to complain to you guys, well, I called City Hall 3 times. That was always what they told every council member when they called. I called City Hall 3 times. Because that was, at some point, that was a trigger that got something done for somebody. He's right there. We're so far behind. You know, you talk about Pleasanton and how they attract so many businesses. I'll tell you how they attract so many businesses. One, their half penny sales tax that Federal County takes from us, they get. It goes into economic development. You want to build a new business, they put your infrastructure in for you for free. That's their incentive to draw businesses in there. So if you want to come in and build a new HEB, they're going to give you $500,000 in infrastructure for free to get you in there. So that reduces your cost way down on that project. That was what they decided to do during the oil boom. Rather than spending money other ways, they put that money away so they could continue to attract businesses. I think the fees are something, we don't make a tremendous amount of money. The fee issue is not a revenue issue that's going to kill the city. The utility fees will be a big difference. If you change utility fees, guaranteed, because we have a lot of businesses that are paying those utility fees. So every time the council thinks about changing the fee, adopting a fee, getting rid of a fee, reducing a fee, that's going to change your budget. You're going to have to figure out how to fix that the next time your budget pops up. But I think you can look at protections for those small businesses, because whether your small business chooses to make an improvement this year or not, you may choose not to make an improvement for 30 years. We wouldn't want a permit fee from you anyway. Utility's a different story. We get a utility fee from you every month if you're in business. But the permit fees are something different, because if that's what's stopping you from doing the work, if the fees are what's stopping you from doing the work, we're not going to see that fee anyway. To where if we waive those fees or change those fees, and it gets you to do more, which makes the city look better, which attracts more business, which does all those things, then that's a wise decision to make, because that's a decision that's going to continue to pay us dividends time and time again. Looking at those, looking at what other cities around us do, it'd be very hard for us to compare what we do at Pleasanton, because they have a San Antonio type structure and how they do stuff. That's why they get San Antonio type businesses. But we can look at, when we look at Dilly, what Dilly does, we can look at, we can see what Honda does. There may be a way to make it easier, to make it more, where there's, instead of 14 different levels, there's 2 or 3, and it's a little bit easier to figure out. And in all fairness to her, to everybody else that comes in here, if you've never been through the process before, it's kind of a daunting process. Because all of a sudden there's all these ordinances in front of you, and you got to fill out this, and you got to do this, and it's like, so I couldn't risk it. So that's all I want to do. I don't have to do all this stuff. So it is. It's kind of requiring. We're doing everything we can to try to help them understand. But for some reason, the mentality in this town is when they don't understand, just blame it on us and go throw a fit, and then we get done. And that can error.
Yeah, I can tell you that anytime you change something or enforce something, there's pushback. And that's part of the process, but it smooths out. Over time it does. It doesn't make it any less painful, but it's a part of the process that people got away with it before, and it was easy to do, and now that we're holding kind of people accountable, that creates friction. I understand that. And finding some of these things we probably didn't realize when we're passing, and all the consequences that come up. So we do need to find that balance, perhaps adjust. But I think we're on a good track of where we need to be by doing these things to make it a better city. You know, like the taxes things, I mean, you know, we were so far beneath all our peer group in our taxes, and we're still beneath that, but we had to raise it to keep the infrastructure in place. And so, of course, people didn't like that because it attacked their pocketbook, and I get that. I completely understand. But it's just part of the process, that there's a, you know, God, it was so easy before. You know, what'd you guys do? You know, we're trying to make it better.
Yeah, and there will be resistance, I mean, until everybody's on the same page. But we also have to be able to let them know or educate the community in terms of these are standard rates in the area. This is what most people charge for this, and that, and this is.
Yeah, that shouldn't take too long to get that put together. I don't think that comparison of those is. And then if our 2004 rates are way above everybody else, then maybe you guys should look out. My down rate is 6, we're going to see that, we're probably still way below. But then that's a decision you guys make when we get on with it.
Did you have something?
I just wanted to put my 10 cents in the tourism business department is very interested in moving forward. My own board, the tourism board, is very interested in addressing these issues as well. I would like to suggest that I work closely with Luce and help him with the research. If the board wants to make recommendations based on all the information and provide that to Luce, that he can present to the city council, all the current permits and ordinances and different things, and how some of those can turn into business incentives that we're able to offer to support Main Street downtown, or in general, you know, what incentives can we really look at and move forward with, and then offer that for you guys to have a workshop to really dwell into it and look at it and break it down, and then be able to make educated decisions on where those fees should be at, where those incentives should be at. But quite honestly, we are way behind time. It is difficult for Luce. It's almost impossible for me to go out and without a marketing kit, without business incentives to encourage business to come here. But we're at that stage where everybody wants it, where there's interest, but we need to update everything and then try to make it easier for businesses to survive here and move forward. So that's my suggestion, is that you allow us to do some intensive research, put together, and then what you can bring to you for a workshop so you can actually look over all the information.
That is a board that's established underneath by the council. Your action item here could be to direct that board to
The economic board?
bring in a proposal with comparable numbers. And that make them happy because they kind of want to look at it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what we could do.
Which board is that again?
The tourism and business center.
Tourism Business Development Board.
Our last meeting was to develop strategies, goals and strategies for moving forward with business membership and bringing new business ideas. They specifically asked that at our next board meeting, I bring to them information about the current ordinances, permits, and fees, and so that they could make a recommendation on what needs to be updated, what can be business incentives. That's what they asked me to bring, and I had a discussion with Luce, you know. I'm gonna invite him to our next board meeting and have him discuss it. And then we can work intensively, because again, we can go out and do some research, find comparable cities, see what they're doing with their incentives.
I think collaboration between Main Street, all three of you actually, because that's all inclusive. And didn't we appoint some members to the economic board?
Yes.
Right? They could possibly.
That could be part of that. You know, one other thing that wasn't mentioned there, that I think we need to focus on, that the Main Street group that gave us the comparable cities, those could be the target cities that we can look at. Because remember, the Main Street group came back with the business models, and there was comparable cities that they picked in Texas to us. as far as the businesses that we had, and the economics of our city, those would be great target cities to use. Those would be great target cities to look and see what they charge.
Yeah, I think we just need to find a happy place where we can let the community know this is where we're at.
So if you guys are in agreement with that, I would recommend that you task those 3 boards, directors with, well, task the city manager and task them since you can't, to do that.
Anybody?
I just want to say that I've gotten like 2 complaints, like just this last week about the, I don't remember what, how he said it or what, but the way he was telling me is he's like, here you guys are trying to promote, that we need to beautify Pearsall and that, he's like, and here I am, you come and you look at my yard and it's green and I'm paying all this money to water it, but then I'm getting, charged the,
Sewer charge.
yeah. And so he's like, and it's just me and my wife and,
He's not 83 years old and short, is he?
yeah,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Flores?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to him numerous times.
We have
Okay.
a senior citizen discount.
So since utility rates are on there, let me explain that because that falls in the agenda item. We can't put meters on sewer because the water comes into your house under pressure, so it makes the meter spin. And so, but when you open your sink or you do whatever, the water leaves your house, there's no pressure to turn a meter. So every city, everywhere, the way your sewer is calculated is based on your water meter. Because it's assumed that all the water that goes into your house is gonna come back out of it, minus a little bit that you're gonna consume drinking or spill on the floor or whatever. So that every city, that's the way your sewer rate is calculated, is the amount of, your sewer rate is a figure based on your actual usage of water. He has a fairly legitimate argument because he puts a lot of water in his yard. And so he's running that water through his meter and he's paying for it to go in the yard and go back into the ground. It's not going back to the sewer system. If that was a solvable problem, it would have been solved a long time ago. But every city, everywhere, that's the way they calculate.
That's
And
how
I sat
it's
down-
done
And I
everywhere?
sat down and explained that to him, and he, when Josie and I sat down with him, he's like, I absolutely understand that. And I understand why you do that, and I understand there's no way to meter it, but it doesn't mean I like it. And then he just happened, he left, and then he went and talked to somebody else. But that's the way that's the only way you can do it. Now, in all fairness to the city though, what he did know that day that we talked to him about is that calculation is done based on December, January, February, and it's not when they're watering.
And it's not what?
It's not when they're watering their yard.
Oh,
And he did not realize that.
okay. So he understood that part.
He understood the whole thing when we talked to him
Okay.
that day, yeah. He
Okay.
was grouchy when he left, he was grouchy when he got here, but he understood, and he said thank you, and he walked out the door.
Did he complain about the big old, pothole almost in front of his yard that when are we gonna fix it? Because the city tore up the road and now, his car nearly disappears every time he, goes down that way of the road. So yeah, he was complaining about that.
All we heard is how many times him and his wife go to the bathroom and say, I can't use that much water. That's all we heard.
Well, okay.
So are you gonna make that motion?
Well, on Uch's letter, you were proposing a fee schedule, suggestions. Do we want to consider any of that right now, or do we want to wait till the study's done?
I think we just need to wait till the study's done to have a complete set of information to work off of.
So, is there any more discussion then? All right, is there any recommendations?
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
I move that we task the city manager to put together the boards, applicable boards to study our fee schedule and with the surrounding area and other cities our size to come up with a compromise and
Present to the council.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, item 7G, Discussion regarding purchase of new residential water meters. This is an action item.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, Council, this is another request that came up at the last meeting, as we were reviewing bills, because one of the bills that was in there was the bill for the purchase of new meters. This is a project that we've been working on for forever, trying to figure out how to address this problem. It's in your packet, and I'm gonna go through it. I wrote it all down, so I wanna make sure I didn't miss anything in this, so that we understand, what we're doing with this new meter program, what we need to do with the new meter program. So, as requested at our previous city council meeting, in your packet is a synopsis of our current meter program and what needs to happen next. Over the last year or so, we received increased complaints about inaccurate water bills. Staff members and elected officials have requested meetings with and met with the people from Johnson Controls to address this concern. After completing additional research and monitoring those complaints, the following issues have been documented and clarified the cause of the concern that everybody's having. Due to the nature of the groundwater source that the city of Pearsall utilizes, which is a higher than normal groundwater temperature, we have warm water, the lack of normal maintenance in the water system for decades, our system has a significant amount of calcification built up in the lines. So if you guys have ever seen any of the projects we've done, lines we've cut, there's all kinds of buildup inside of those lines. Lack of proper tank cleaning for years, routine flushing, and other common maintenance work further exacerbated this problem. What this has all led to is a higher than normal level of the buildup of solid minerals within our water system. When that level buildup gets higher than normal, larger segments of the solids begin to break away and travel through the system causing additional problems. That higher than normal level of solids is what's causing our meter accuracy issues. Excess solid materials in the screens and the meters cause the impellers to not function properly. At the onset, the extra solids will cause the meter impellers to spin faster than it's normal. Once the buildup reaches a certain point, the meters will not spin at all. In layman terms, what that means is the initial buildup will cause the meters to register a little bit more, which will increase water usage on the bill. So they'll actually pay a little bit more than what's actually occurring. But then shortly after that, at a certain point, the meter doesn't register at all. So if they're using additional water, it doesn't show up in the meter at all. They're just paying the base rate. From a billing standpoint, it has a net zero effect as long as those meters are repaired in short order. User's bill may be slightly elevated when the buildup first starts. However, when the meter stops spinning, they are billed at the base rate and their usage above the base is not registered. The issues begin when those meters have been registering zero usage for too long. At that point, the city begins to lose revenue because they're using water they're not paying for. The only way to correct the issue is to have the meters pulled, break them down, clean the screens, and put them back into service. Over the last few months, Josie and I have been trying to develop a plan for solving this labor-intensive issue. We believe now that we have all the pieces necessary to begin this long-term project. And this is kind of the layout that we're planning to do this. As you saw the bill last month, the city's purchased 50 new residential meters, and we have those available for use right now. Louis is running them with his life. Recently, we had the retirement of one of our finance department staff members. That position is proposed to be realigned to become the meter employee for the finance department. That position will be responsible for reading meters, conducting rereads, for developing meter files for each account, and for repairing and replacing meters. At the beginning, the newly organized position would start by utilizing the 50 new meters to replace meters that have had long-standing recurring zero readings. They would then take the meters that have been removed, break them down, clean them out, and repair them for reinstallation at the new locations. As meters are repaired, they will be used to replace zero-read meters. Each time a meter is read, replaced, turned off, or physically located in any way, this person will be responsible for documenting the location of the meter, verifying the serial number and address, verifying that the serial number and address match, verifying there are no lines before the meter taking water, ensuring the meter is accessible and hazard-free, and building a file for that meter that makes locating it easy in the future. Once all of the zero-read meters have been caught up, this person would then start to audit the readings each month, identify meters that appear to have inaccurate readings, and replace those. Once they've been caught up, each complaint should be able to be addressed monthly as they come up. Our readings and actual usage should be far more accurate and billing will be more appropriate. Additionally, this person will be the one who monthly is responsible for disconnects and reconnects for unpaid bills. This is one more example of the cost of maintenance. So all those years where the tanks weren't cleaned, the flushing wasn't done the way it was supposed to be done, all that stuff, that's what led to the buildup of that. If you clean the tanks the way they're supposed to be cleaned by TCQ standards, that stuff never makes it into the system. Last year, before last year was the first year we did cleanings. The records show that the cleanings have been done before I came. Last year, we had tanks that we took 2 feet of sediment out of. When we had those tanks rechecked this year, we had less than an inch of sediment in those tanks. And that was after another year of use. They're supposed to be cleaned every 2 years, and we haven't built in the budget now to have them cleaned every 2 years. But that sediment over time got into those lines. We've cut water lines out here to our 2-inch water line, and you can't even get your little finger in the hole, because that sediment's built up so much in there.
So, when those tanks need to be cleaned out, is that something that the city does, or do you have to hire somebody to do
No,
it?
we have to hire somebody to do it, because they have to get inside the tanks with vacuum. Basically, they take a big vacuum hose up to the top of the tank and drop that vacuum hose in there, and that's how they do it.
Is that what they do on the big elevated tanks?
Yeah, we did it all. We had 12 storage tanks, we did 11 last year. They ran out of time. I don't know if you guys remember that we're here, we approved, paid for that out of the bond because it had to be done, and we had an opening the next day. They actually called and said that somebody had canceled on them. They came here, it was in August or something, and those guys were in that water, it was 120 degrees, and they were having all kinds of issues. They could only leave the guys in the water for an hour, and they were having to switch them out and do all kinds of stuff. But they only had 4 days when they came, and they got 11 of our 12 tanks last year. They came back this year and got the 1 tank that they did get last year and rechecked all the other ones for us. Because we had no clue what the actual buildup was, what the yearly buildup was in those tanks. We knew there was no way it was 18 to 24 inches in 2 years. So the previous person that come in and quote unquote clean our tanks, they clean our tanks. So it's a different company that we're using now. We get a video from them that shows the cleaning. They do a complete requirement check on all the tanks, so the door's okay, the ladder's okay, everything. I said everything would change the little red lights on top of that says Joe. So we get a disc now that has video of everything that they do. It shows all that. And so now we're not getting that kind of sediment in the tanks, but there's so much buildup in those lines. This stuff's on breakaway for years. So the only way we're going to be able to keep up with this, and the Johnson Controls people brought us photos. They took some of those meters and they broke them down. And they brought us photos that show some of those things. And I mean, it's chunks of scale, as big as a silver dollar. Some of those things is breaking out of the big lines. And so it gets on top of that screen, and the impellers are either the little bit of water that's going through there because the pressure is going through faster and it's spinning them faster, or it gets to the point where it doesn't go through that impeller at all. It stays saturated and moves past without even registering. We've discussed this plan with the meter contractor. They agree this is the best solution to not only solve the current problem, but also ensure it doesn't continue to grow. We're probably looking at a year to a year and a half to get the program up running and caught up with all maintenance. So the question that was asked last time, obviously, about the meters and why we were purchasing them, we don't have any, we got to do something to get started. What we've seen each month is that number of zero readings just continues to get bigger. And so we've got to get started on those meters to start. The 50 original ones will be used to replace the 50 that have been zero readings longest. Bring those in, break them down, clean them up, they'll be ready to go back. What does it take, 15 minutes to break one of them down and clean it? I mean, it's not a long process, but you got to take the meter out to do it. You can't do it in line. Josie has come up with a plan on how to reorganize the finance department to make that retired position available. So basically, when Mary left, she assigned her duties to other employees. And so that leaves that position vacant. So what we're looking at is bringing in a person to do this. Would help us make sure that monthly we get the disconnects done and keep caught up with the disconnects, all that. That person would be here in City Hall. If somebody gets disconnected, comes in and pays, they go right back out and reconnect them. And so it would help keep up with that whole process and get that meter situation and the revenue situation straight out both on the water side.
What about the lease agreement on those meters?
Well, so they do so many of them a year. There's so many of them a year that are replaced. This person would work, so whatever ones are scheduled, they're scheduled based on serial numbers or something else. Yeah, so it's kind of they select certain ones that they replace based on usage, based on whatever else. But it could be, I mean, they could, they're not going to get all the zero readings every year, so. For us to be, and he said that once we start replacing those, they're going to mark that in their system as well, so that we'll do 50 and they may end up doing 30 or 40 or 50 of the ones that we need to get done this year as well, also. So that's gonna help, the lease is gonna help catch it up, but it won't catch it up on itself.
When is that lease up?
2024,
2024, 25?
I think it's 24, 28.
So they're the ones that are gonna be providing the meters. We don't have to buy any meters, or?
We had to buy 50, so we have a stock to be able to go out and change them. So those 50 belong to us.
Okay.
They'll always be ours. The lease ones, those are covered in the lease agreement. So we shouldn't have any more costs for meters beyond what we just bought. We'll buy some parts for seals or something when we take them apart, but it'll be small cost for repairs. But it should help with the number of complaints you guys are getting about water bills. It'll be a whole lot easier for us to sit there and say, no, there's, if we send this employee out, they come and say, oh, my bill's too high, is something wrong? Go do a reread, take it out, put another meter in there, bring it in. If it's got calcification in it, then they were probably right, we'll probably adjust the bill. If it doesn't, then they were right. I mean, we'll know by bringing the meter down. It's the only way we're really gonna know if it's working right or not.
And if they break, are they responsible to replace with the new one, or like
In the lease?
in the lease?
If they break the lease,
No, what does the lease cover? I mean, why are we
Yeah.
leasing them?
because it covers replacement meters.
Oh, okay. It's gonna replace.
But it's basically like randomly replacing so many a year. I mean, they don't, so it kind of keeps, over a 10 or 15 year period, it would replace all the meters again. And that's why if we replace them, they're gonna know in their system that they don't come in and take our new meter out. So we may have 50 of them out. I don't know, we haven't talked about this, but the first 50 we take out to replace, we maybe will just call and tell, these are the 50 we won't replace for this year, we end up with 100 new meters right off the start. That's something we haven't done now all the way into the final details with them on the replacement part of it. We'll make sure that they're not gonna get any more meters. We'll make sure they're taking more meters. But hopefully, a few months, once we get this going, hopefully, the complaints about the water bills will stop.
So what about, I remember a while back that, I guess they didn't have to go physically go look at the meter, they could just go by and scan it or whatever.
Football.
Huh?
Nuclear football.
And, so are we still having issues like with cars being in the way or something being in the way and not being read right?
And see, we don't know that until they get back and download all the data, and that's what we do what's called rereads. So if somebody parks over that and it's not, and the signal's not able to transmit to it, then sometimes, we don't get those readings. That's why that's part of what we talked about in the meter file system in here. Some of those meters, the meter box is overgrown, so it's overgrown, they park over, they don't need it clear, or they've got junk cars sitting over that we need to get towed off or whatever, and as this person goes around and does those, we'll get all those issues cleared up too. And so at some point, when you drive out with a nuclear football, it should get everything. Well, when that system was put in, there should have been 1 or 2 employees dedicated to that system, to maintenance, to keep you track of it, and just never figure how much time it wasn't done. I assume that's why they didn't do it at that time. We had 1 or 2 that were trained on how to drive around and get the readings. But the maintenance part of it, there was never anybody put in charge of maintaining those meters, to make sure that they were reading accurately, so that's all correct.
So how do we make sure that the meters are calibrated?
That's part of the replacement. They check so many, how many they check a year on the calibration?
30.
Yeah, they come down and do that. They come down and randomly check them. And then if they find, and that was actually what first brought up the calcium buildup, because they were checking them and they told us there's some of these that are there, and so they started pulling them apart. There was one last year, I think it was 28% off, and they said there's no way, so they pulled it apart and then they found all that scale in it. So that was what kind of brought this whole thing to a head.
So if there's a customer that was, overcharged, I mean, they're not gonna get any kind of a refund after?
No, because at some point when it hit 0, they were undercharged. So there's no way to know what the actual overcharge was or what the undercharge was. They may have come out ahead, we may have come out a little bit ahead, there's no way to really know. What we need to do is make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. It's fix it where it doesn't continue to happen. So the first month that somebody's reading doubles, once we get this program in place, that person will go over there, switch out the meters. If it's got calcium buildup in it, then we'll probably average 3 months prior bills, 4 months prior bills, something, 6 months prior bills, something, give them an average of them paid out of the month. And that'll fix all the things.
Okay.
Anything else?
So, does this require action of any sort?
No action.
No action. Okay, item 7G, discussion regarding Pearsall Municipal Court.
Okay, just wanted to give you guys an update. As you all know, our municipal court judge resigned because she took a full-time job at Geo. So she would have benefits. So our municipal court judge position is open right now. It's posted. We've had one applicant at this point for that. So we haven't really had a base for you guys to come in and take a look at. As far as functions of the court go, we still have the clerk over there, and the part-time helper. They're still, as you know, people are coming in, paying tickets, doing whatever. That stuff's also being taken care of. We normally just have 2 court days a year, or a month. One of them's a truancy court for the school, and then the other one's a show cause hearing. There's no show cause hearing scheduled for this month. The school had asked that we make sure we didn't miss the truancy court. So our city attorney worked with the county. One of the county judges is going to cover that day for us to make sure that we still have truancy court, and that the school gets what they need done this month. So that gives us until next month to get everything lined up. What's Melanie? What kind of judge is she? Susan. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just to
The JPs are calling me frequently, wanting to know what we're doing with this process, because our municipal court judge is also one of the ones that goes over and takes care of stuff for people who have been incarcerated. And so they're having to cover the shifts that she covered, which is fine. They get paid, they can go cover the shifts that she covered. I think a municipal court judge covered 13 weekends a year, Peter, is that right? Yeah, 13 weekends a year. So one a month. So we may miss 1 or 2 in there. We have to have our whoever you all select when we get to that point. It was advertised to every place we could advertise it. We've got one applicant. Somewhere in here, probably the next week or so, we'll send out everything to you guys so you can look at and decide if you want to sit down and go ahead and have a meeting and go into executive session and start looking at some of the applications or what you want to do for that one and the next one.
What are the requirements for that?
High school, where's your high school diploma and live in town, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What?
High school diploma and you have to live inside the city limits.
That's it?
That's it.
And you had only one applicant?
One applicant.
And is it a full-time position? or
It's part-time.
Part-time.
Yeah, it's part-time, no benefits.
With benefits?
No.
Oh, with no.
I think it pays $19,500 a year is what it pays, if I
Oh.
remember right.
Is that the average for municipal court, whatever resort judge?
When we did the salary, I didn't look at what, a lot of the communities around us have one judge and have associate judges. They do a lot of different things in municipal court than what we do. We could look and see, that's what that's not established anywhere. That's what the council did in the last contract. So if the council chose to make a change, after the budget amendment, you probably make a change.
Could we find out what is the norm?
We can. I don't know, but we can find out.
And maybe why we only have one applicant is because we're.
Full-time would be 40,000.
That'd be almost 40,000 a year for full-time, so it'd be 39.
But the city doesn't want to make it a full-time.
City's never had a full-time judge.
Oh, okay.
We don't need one.
I don't need a full-time judge.
No.
Unless the jail closes, then we gotta have 2 of them. Magistrate.
Anything else?
We can do a part-time, that's good.
Anything else? Okay. Next item is 7I, discussion and possible action regarding city manager search. This is an action item.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Mr. Mayor, Council, so at this point, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 5 complete applications that have been filed. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pending. Pending means that they emailed the resume, but they haven't filled out an application or submitted the rest of their documents yet. We saw the first day it was posted on Thursday, right? Ruben?
Yes, sir.
And over that weekend, all but 2 of these showed up that weekend. So there's people that were sitting there watching the website. I mean, there's 5 complete ones to look at. If you guys want to set a date and time to come in and have a meeting and start looking, you can. I'd recommend you wait and get some more before you sit down and at least see if some of these other people finish submitting their stuff before you sit down and look.
How many did you say were pending?
There are 1, 2,
6.
3, 4, 5, 6 pending.
6 pending.
5 complete and 6 pending. What is an action item in case you wanted to set a date to look at the 5 we have? I think that's entirely up to you. If there's me, I'll wait.
Discussion?
I would like to see more applications.
Just wait and see if there's more.
If we've got 6 pending, I'd like to see 10 total to look at before we come in and look at them.
Anything else? I think we need to have at least 10 so we can maybe look at them.
And I'll be honest with you, I perused through them. You're not gonna, you need more.
And what if we don't like any of them?
I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a very good chance that's gonna be the situation.
Okay, so this is an action item, so we don't need to
You
take
don't have to take
action on it. Okay. Item 8, Manager's Report.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the 2019 Pearsall Hotel Occupancy Tax Bill. Our bracket bill for expanded use of hotel occupancy tax revenues for the city of Pearsall is moving right along. Last week, Josie and I testified before the Senate Natural Resource and Economic Development Committee on the bill, which is numbered Senate Bill 320. The bill passed through committee unanimously and was sent to the full Senate calendar as an unopposed bill. What that means, if those unopposed bills, when they get in there, they normally vote on them in a group. If it's unopposed, they normally don't discuss it on the floor, they vote on those bills as a group and they get through. So more than likely, our bill will get through the Senate the first day of the calendar to be voted on. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we'll be testifying for the House version of the bill, which is HB 1195, in front of the House Ways and Means Committee. There's 3 pages of hotel occupancy tax bills to be heard in that committee tomorrow, so hopefully they'll run through them really quick and send them all out to be unanimous vote, and we'll end up in the same situation in the House. So if that is the case, we can have, that bill could be done in the next couple of weeks and be headed to the governor for signature. At this time, I'll have Josie give you the financial report.
Mr. Mayor, council members, this is our monthly financial report for year-to-date. We're currently at 50% of the budget. We have a total past due for utility bills at $195,000, with $141,000 of over 90 days. Our long-term debt has been paid as of March. Our next payments are due in September. Our cash on deposit is currently $3 million, with $1 million in the general fund, $1 million in the certificate of obligations. We have a deficit of $205,000 in the utility funds due to the bond payments and everything paid in March, and then expenses for these months going on. We are currently with the F1 current taxes at 92%, the delinquent 52%, penalty, interest, and costs 36%. Our city sales tax is at 45%, mixed beverage tax is at 41%, and then the franchise fees is at 52%. Our year-to-date for the general fund, that we are net over $455,000. Our utilities fund, we have a deficit of $28,000. We did do our last payment in April at the end of March for that lease payment for the years. So The water and sewer, the net over is 251,000. The gas, we're at a deficit of 62. The garbage fund, although it identifies a net over of 692, that's incorrect. It's 35,000 that we're sitting at for that one. The month end for our general and utility sources, we're at a deficit of 126. And that's our monthly expenses, just for the general fund and utility fund.
Josie, just real quick, on the garbage fund, why was that an incorrect number for the expenses?
I had utilized the month expenditure instead of the year-to-date. This is the year-to-date.
Okay.
So that's a significant difference there, but it is at 35,000.
And our gas fund,
Now, we do still do the monthly payments to Muni Services, Muni Gas, the prepayment. So that's why we continue to receive deficits, because that is that prepayment for Muni Gas.
so it usually gets cleared up by the end of the month, and then
Some months we pay and then some months we don't because of prepayments. So some months we'll see a net over and some months we'll see a deficit.
Questions on that? Okay, next, House Bill 3535. Now the legislature has decided to get to work. There are a number of bills that will have a significant impact on the city of Pearsall that we've been tracking. House Bill 3535, or the franchise fee bill, is one that would have a huge impact on us. HB 3535 would remove approximately one-half of the money that we receive for cable and telephone to use our city right-of-ways. Councilman Frazier and I testified against this bill in the House State Affairs Committee last week. There were 40 to 50 cities and TML present to testify against this bill. Despite the tremendous turnout against the bill passed out of committee by a vote of 9-2 and will be considered by the full House. Because it was a 9-2 vote, it has to go to the floor for discussion, so that could be a big help for us there. However, a companion bill has now been assigned to committee in the Senate. These bills have the potential to have a huge impact on our small budget. 2 years ago, it was the small cell towers that were exempted. Now cable and telephone is looking for a partial exemption. Next will probably be electric, and the city of Pearsall stands to receive about $400,000 a year in franchise fees to the general fund with our annexation. So just to kind of clarify what this bill would do, the cable and telephone companies are throwing a fit because they're claiming that they're double taxed because they came through years ago and laid fiber optic line at that time for telephone or cable and one or the other. Now they're transmitting everything over the same line. So basically it's like they've got one 4-inch pipeline in the ground. And they're claiming that it shouldn't matter how many services they send over that one line, they should only be paying one fee. By state law, they have to pay 2 fees. They pay one for cable and one for telephone. The bill would exempt them from the lower of the 2 payments, whichever the lower of the 2 payments are. The argument up there, the entire argument basically hinges on if you can, the chairman of the committee who was actually sponsored the bill, which that didn't help. His argument was, well, if I have a pipeline running across my property, do I care whether they're running water or oil or liquid gold through that pipeline? They pay me the same amount for that pipeline to cross, and it doesn't matter what product they run through that pipeline. And our argument is that, that they may be utilizing half the space they were utilizing before, but if they are, then the value of our right-of-ways increase. If the technology's made that small space where capable of carrying so much more, then the space is worth more. And so they should continue to pay for both. That's going to be an interesting bill. We heard cities testify, as Corpus Christi testified, that was a $9 million hit to them. Houston testified to the bigger amount. So some of the big cities were talking about, they were talking big money that this would cost them. The chairman of the committee, Senator Phelan, obviously is a special interest, big business kind of guy. There's no doubt. He got kind of hostile for some of the witnesses in there. TML did an excellent job of tearing that bill apart in the committee. I was really surprised that it came out at a 19 vote because, the TML attorney basically tore that committee apart and said, well, Senator, you sponsored this bill and did this, and you did this, and did, they put them all on the spot. But it wasn't enough to stop it. Have spoke to Senator Flores about this, told him we do not support this. He said that he would not support the Senate version when it goes through. spent a significant amount of time talking to Representative King about this. He said he would not support it either. So hopefully, our guys at least will go the right way. Revenue caps. Speaking of the legislature, revenue caps appear to have been resurrected again. The final version of House Bill 2, which is the budget bill, includes provisions for a 2.5% revenue cap for all cities. There are requirements for bond elections and other issues in that bill as well. House Bill 2 is scheduled for debate and a vote on the House floor this Thursday. I saw everybody to listen to this. I spoke to Representative King on this item today, and this was his response when I talked to him. Word for word. I'm not a fan of revenue caps and have historically voted against them. Things can change, but that's where I am today. That was not a guarantee that he was going to vote against that provision in that bill to protect us. So if we get a chance to talk to him, if we didn't know him, we need to be reaching out to him and making sure that he knows that we're opposed to that provision in House Bill 2. We need to stay on top of that. The City of Pearsall Summer Recreation Program. Ram, Josie, and I met with representatives of the ACE program from Pearsall Public Schools today to discuss a new summer recreation program for the children of the City of Pearsall. PISD received a grant of somewhere around $1 million to implement the ACE program in the local schools. The idea of the meeting was to find a way to meld the two programs together in a way that was beneficial for our kids, meet the ACE requirements, and keep the goals and objectives of the City of Pearsall Summer Recreational Program. The reality is the kids, both programs serve the same kids, and without working on a way to join the two programs, our summer rec program would have undoubtedly suffered. We believe today that we may have found a way to expand the program, meet the ACE requirements, and still keep it as a program led by our City Parks Department. We still got some more work to do on this. However, I want the council to know at this point we may be looking at some key changes which you would have to approve to our summer rec program. Those changes would include expanding the program from the ages that we have now to everybody from between pre-K and 12th grade, waiving the fee that we historically charge for the program, and limiting the program to Pearsall Independent School District enrolled students only. We'll discuss this more at the next meeting. Basically, that ACE program is a program they can run for free. It's at the school, which is where we need to run our program. So if they're running the ACE program in the summer and we're running a competitive program against them, we're not going to have the facilities, we're not going to have the free lunches, we're not going to have all that stuff that we've historically had. If we put the two programs together, but they have some specific requirements, they can't limit it to kids with certain age groups, so it has to be pre-K through 12. So that would be the reason we would have to change the ages. They can only serve Pearsall Independent School District kids with those funds. So we would have to limit it to kids in the Pearsall Independent School District. And as we were talking about today, we have kids in that program that come in from Divine, Billy. We have kids from Houston. We get kids in our summer rec program from all over. If they come in here and stay with grandma and grandpa for the summer, grandma and grandpa send them, historically send them the program. They bring them up in carloads from Petula and Divine or Dilly. Dilly maybe having their own program this summer, that would probably help us as far as that part goes. But that would also expand the program because we're looking at potentially being able to do 400 or 500 students if they're just PISD kids that we can have the ACE program help us. So I think after we got done with the meeting today, everybody, I think this is a good thing, and this will be the first time this has happened anywhere where those programs have melded together to put a program together for the summer kids. I think this could very well end up being a program that ends up being an example for other cities on how to put those two things together. Helps the ACE program meet their numbers, which is important for the school to keep it grant. Makes our numbers look great. So I think this is, we'll have some more by the next meeting. We'll have a proposal on what we're going to have to do with this, but I think this is probably going to be the direction we're going to have to go if we're going to keep our summer program on, because we can't compete with their $1 million budget.
Are there any potential alternatives for the kids that I'm talking about that would be left out, that staying with grandma and grandpa for the summer? Are there anything on the horizon?
We might be able to look at something. But if we do expand this to be 300, 400, 500 kids, even with the help we're going to get from them, it's going to take all the hands we've got to do it. The one thing we did talk about today too, the ACE people said that they wanted to make sure they got TOLA involved in this too, because they can't service them. And so that's another group.
They are allowed to?
Yeah, they are allowed to, and it's a group that they're not servicing yet, so they're going to reach out to them and work on that as well.
Okay.
So that was, I know we get some of those kids in the summer rec program too, so that was a big thing. to help us as well.
Is that because they're part of the PISD area?
Yeah, they're inside the school district, the money has to be spent in the district.
Okay.
And they're what, somehow, yeah.
But, well, like you're saying, the other kids that are coming in from out of town, this and that, but we'll still have movies in the park. We'll still have family at the pool, family night at the pool, you know, so there'll be some other activities that throughout the summer that these other children from out of town can benefit of.
They just won't get the age of 5
Yes.
Right.
program.
I've worked with community centers who work with federal programs, and when they ran into this situation, I don't know if it can be applied here. These kids that didn't fit the guidelines to be in the program were allowed to participate, but they had to pay separately, and they weren't included in the numbers. And their funding came from a separate source, either they charged them, the parent, the grandparent, the fee, or it was funded through an independent sponsor or something else.
ACE can't charge. They cannot charge. So, yeah, we kind of talked about some of those things today. There's really no way around the deal unless we set up some separate program for them, which is going to be labor intensive. So, but we're going to continue to work on it. The Easter egg hunt, don't forget this Saturday. The City of Pearsall Main Street Program, the Pearsall Police Department, and the Pearsall Fire Department will be hosting our inaugural Hoppy Easter egg hunt at Patino Park. We will have over 5,000 eggs filled with candy and toys. Some eggs will also include a golden coin, which lucky holders will be able to exchange for a complete full Easter basket. We've already collected over 110 Easter baskets. However, we still are looking for about 30 more to be donated. After the Easter egg hunt is over, we'll have hot dogs for the kids, music, bounce houses, and a movie in the park before the night's over. TCEQ notice, we just completed mailing out a TCEQ violation notice to all the citizens that utilize our water system. We had a couple of initial water samples taken that did not meet the minimum requirements. We've had this conversation with council before. Anything can cause these samples to fail, a speck of dust in the air, the breath of the person taking the sample, or a million other things. The follow-up tests that were taken at the locations with the failed samples were all clear. This is what verifies that they were bad samples. However, even with the verification that it was a bad sample, TCEQ still requires the notice to be sent out. When you receive yours, you'll notice that they were from months ago. That's because we have a set time to send them out. But maybe we'll complete all requirements we have for TCEQ under that violation. New personnel policy as promised. Each of you at your station tonight had a copy of the draft of the proposed personnel policy for the city of Pearsall. Our city attorney has completed his legal review of the document and given it his seal of approval. We will have it on the next agenda for consideration and adoption. I just want to make sure you guys had it for a while to look at it before we started going through it. I want to thank Josie and Ruben for their help on this project. Just as an FYI, you would probably save the taxpayer somewhere around $10,000 doing this in-house because that's what most legal firms charge to do it. Previous policy was adopted years ago and is seriously past due for revision with inclusion of updated mandatory legal requirements. And that's all I have.
All right. Next item on the agenda is review of bills paid. Discussion. Questions? Okay, if there is no discussion on that, let's proceed to general announcements.
Just Saturday, if you guys can make it out Saturday, it's gonna be great. We're gonna break the park up into zones. We'll barricade out parks. We're gonna make sure the little bitty guys aren't getting run over by the big guys. And we'll have it split up where we have at least 3 groups, maybe 4. We've got cheerleaders coming out to help. Junior ROTC, the fire department will be there, the police department will be there, city staff members. Try to keep all those little monsters organized. We try to use all the help we can get. Each one will be there. Dave Ritchie, you don't come. No.
It's at Pueblo Patino, right?
It's at Pueblo Patino. Starts at 5 o'clock.
But we're going to start putting the eggs out at about 3:30, so if y'all like to go out there and help us scatter them out, that would be great.
That's a lot of eggs to put out.
What time? 3?
At about 3:30, we'll be out
Okay.
there getting started.
If we buy baskets, can we bring them here?
To the tourism building, I have them all over there, and I'm labeling each one. It says Happy Easter from, and the business that is donating, personal, individual person, whoever donates, it'll say it on there.
who donated, so everybody who's gonna donate will be announced on there.
We got a really good turnout for baskets. I mean, we got a bunch pretty quick. The Main Street board's still gathering for Main Street. But hopefully we'll make it. We got 144 gold coins to put in the eggs, so we're trying to get to the 144, so that we can use all the golden coins. So when the kids get there, after they pick up all the eggs, then they'll go through them. If they've got a gold coin, then they'll walk up to a line and they'll trade their gold coin for a basket.
And you want, like, just the plain empty baskets or the baskets with all the
The
stuff?
ones that you can get at HB, they're the Easter filled gift baskets.
Okay.
They have stuff in them. There's some for $5. You can, I think the most expensive one I see is 20. People are bringing 4 or 5, $25 worth of boys and girls, and they're also bringing like food. There's some that just have like a stuffed animal or something, and it's neat because I didn't realize it until they were all laid out. The girls are labeled with the pink bow, and the guys and the boys are with the blue and the green one. So it's really easy to just kind of figure out where they go.
Is it a real gold coin? Is it a real gold coin?
No.
I think I'd keep that.
That's the banker in
Like,
you.
you're gonna be knocking them over.
Each one of the kids will be given a goodie basket. We've got 608
608 goodie bags with grass and some candy inside. They're bigger bags so they can put their eggs. And we have about 5,010 eggs. And each one of them I went through and taped them and made sure everything was in them because they were all falling apart. And we got an Easter Bunny costume. So one of my board members, my chairperson, will be the Easter Bunny for about an hour. So you're taking pictures. I asked HB Buddy if they could bring him, but I haven't got an answer yet. We got the Free Regional Hospital and Heart to Heart Hospice donated 300 hot dogs with the buns, drinks, and chips. So we'll have 600 free hot dogs a meal. And then we also asked a food truck vendor to come because we are going to have live music throughout the night. So there can still be food throughout the event. Katie McKenzie, that came for the grand opening, will be coming back. She'll be here from 5:30 to 7:30. And then Mr. Frausto is going to do his ventriloquist act for about 20 minutes. And then we'll do the movie in the park that the PD is going to host, and it'll be Bumblebee. So that'll be right after, and then the event will end when the movie's over. And the one thing that I'm going to ask, I'm hoping it's not an issue, but we will not give out baskets until every single Easter egg is picked up, because I really don't want to go back and pick them up. So we're going to ask him for that. And then the golden coins, they're going to be, I did 3 groups of every single egg, so they're to make sure that every group has the same exact amount of eggs. So.
And what ages?
We had said up to 3. For the parent can go help them, and then from like 4 to 7, and then older kids 7 or 8 and up, so that they're on the other side of the park. And we're going to try to separate it. We have caution teeth and things so that the kids, the little ones, don't get run over.
Little videos, we'll let a parent go in with them. Those middle sizes, we'll let the cheerleaders and them take care of them. The big kids will put the PD and gun over it.
Well, good job, guys. This is really great.
Sounds good.
Well done.
I think that place is going to be packed.
People are telling me they're going to camp out, so we're just going to have to go and get the
No way, for real.
Yeah. And that's what they're like, when is starts at 5 o'clock. So everyone's like, we're going to be at the door lined up. We're like, okay, y'all trample me, it's over.
I'm hoping we run out of those 600 and something bags, and I'm hoping it'd be great. I think what I was told, the biggest one they've ever had was about 300. That about 300 kids show up in one year that one of the commissioners did one time. So if we can double that, that's great.
Everybody's really excited when they hear 5,000 eggs. What do you mean 5,000 eggs? I have them in my office. If you want to see my proof, really is 5,000. So it's plenty of eggs. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Can you get Maverick out there Sunday? The drone?
Oh.
That'd be awesome.
I'm sure. I think it's all
We need to ask the cheerleaders to have the mascots too. So we not. So come out, it's going to be a great time. Nothing more fun than running around the park and 600 streets.
I'll try and get my crew out to help you, so.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's a deal.
All the help we can
That's a
get.
deal.
We're also going to have games, so that's another thing. The potato sack race, the spoon with the egg, and then 3-legged race and horseshoes. So that'll be, and we have little medals, so if you win, you get a
how
little
cute.
around the back.
nice.
For the kids.
I don't put it in the sack, so I'm gonna do it.
Any other announcements? That's it? Okay, number 11, city council inquiries for staff and/or items for future agendas. No discussion or action on any of these items. Anything for future agendas?
Want to put the Frio Ridge Vision on the agenda?
Frio Vision Alive on the agenda?
And then,
Is there others that agree with that?
Yeah, I'll support that.
okay.
Say, save you support Dave. Better think. What? It saved you having to fill out the form, you better think. What form? The form on the agenda.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, I have, one, I was gonna ask about that tower behind Westview. That tower out there has no light.
The water tower?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it
I've heard-
hasn't had no light for quite a while
Yeah,
already.
I've heard that as well.
So wait, did I ever get you bulbs? Whoops. Okay, I'll fix it. We don't need to put that on the agenda.
That was another item I had wanted to see if the council would request to have, as an action item, to have an independent audit for the Polo Patino project and to go out for RFPs for auditors on the project.
Request? Is there any others? No, we can't discuss anything. Okay, so there's no others that will support that request, and any other inquiries? Okay, so there's no other inquiries, and it's time to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.